Yo, yo. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the third Tavern Talk ever. And we're joined today by two repeating guests. We have Shibby and Glorious back to join us. I know you guys love them. We are joined by Biggie, a.k.a. I'm going to call him Alan because I've known him for so long I cannot call him his avatar name. And Blazzinbob, the host of the Warcraft Reloaded podcast. What's going on, guys? Oh yeah. So we yeah, we didn't do an episode last week just because some things came up, but this is like I said, our third ever episode. This one we're gonna be kind of like just firing stuff off, right? We are not going off of a script or anything really this time, so we're gonna just jump into pretty much. I want to start this off with, I know a few of the people in here. What they've been up to, but I want to start with asking Bob, what have you been up to, Bob? Oh, they're muted. How did that happen? Whoa. Go, what's going on, bro?
Thank you, guys.
There we go.
Boomy
we should be good. I
royalty.
restarted the software.
We gotta make sure he hears.
Come back, kids. Are we good?
The man.
We're good.
Do you want to just start over, or you want me to just go into what I've been doing?
Yeah. So what have you been up to, Bob?
Oh man, I've been up to, well, I've played mostly SOD. Been doing a lot of PvP on my rogue. I want to go back and PvP on my hunter, but I need to get rank 7 done. The hunter was so easy to get it done because I was having so much fun, just like hard carrying games. And then my rogue, I was telling you in pre-show, feels like I need to get carried to like win.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I wholly support the hunter options in PvP. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I wish I played Hunter.
OP.
You really do.
You can.
And you can play any style. You can
today.
play range, melee. There's so many tools, but yeah, I've been doing that. And then just doing raiding on both of my tunes, on the rogue and the hunter, and then I did raid in Darkwing Descent in Kata once.
Oh, that's right. I watched that. Yep. How was that?
Not too long ago. It was cool. I think the raids were always cool. Like, that's the only thing I'm trying my best to be excited about Kata. I'm trying so hard, but I'm just not yet. Like, and seeing all the little Ragnaroses running around, and I don't know, man. It doesn't feel like my World of Warcraft, but the raids felt good. I love being able to put like marks on the ground instead of just on players and enemies. Like, that's a really cool thing instead of having to use like smoke bomb stuff. But yeah, I've just really been up just doing SOD.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I'm excited for Kata. I unfortunately didn't get to test the raids out, so I did watch like yours and a couple of other people's streams. And it got me pretty hyped. Like, I that's my favorite part of the game is raiding. So I'm really hype about that. But even with that, I am still somewhat of a SOD fanboy. Like, I can't wait for Phase 4, to be completely honest. Like, I don't know if I'm still gonna play Kata once Phase 4 comes out. But yeah. So what about you, Alan? What have you been up to?
Lots of Kata. I'll be honest with you. I've just been leveling and grinding. Kata's when they redid the leveling experience. It's a lot better now.
Yeah.
It's been like
it's pretty fun.
leveling before. I enjoy it. That. You have that nice, constant, solid pace. The new zones are all fun, right? We don't have those dead zones where there's no quests or stuff like that unless you know where exactly to go. So you can level anywhere. It's just a bit more varied. I've been enjoying it. And, once pre-patch is done, I'm going to probably be done leveling because I'm going to want to raid, right? Because that's like the best part of playing the game. Or I'm going to be doing PvP. I'm either be doing arenas. Kata PvP for me is peak. I love PvP in Kata at the time. So, like...
especially as a mage.
Especially as a mage. And I got my shaman, and I'm thinking of leveling up like a druid or something like that because it's funny. But yeah, mostly just that. Because I'm still a Final Fantasy player, I've been prepping that because Dawn Trail, and then also dabbling back in SOD to level up my other Alliance character. So gaming, straight gaming across the board.
So you're very busy.
Dude, I'm very excited for Cataclysm. Dude, I live out in the literal nowhere. There's nothing to do out here, right? This is where I work. nothing
I hear
to
you.
do out here. Unless I want to go to the one bar. I'm not kidding.
Really?
The one bar in this town. Then it's gaming, right? I can mow my lawn again, I guess.
What state?
I'm not in the state. Not in the state.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of them Canadians.
Canadian.
So.
Yeah,
out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, grinding backlog. The thing with Cataclysm and Sod though is I do honestly think I'm gonna have enough time to do both.
Yeah, me too.
Because like once you've leveled up and you've got yourself in Sod, you can just raid log. There's nothing stopping you from doing that, and that's great. I love MMOs that let me just raid log because that's the part that I enjoy.
It's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Final Fantasy lets me
do it. Cat is gonna let me do it. Sod's gonna let me do it. That's why I don't like retail, because it doesn't let me raid log. I just want to raid log. I just want to be that guy who shows up twice a week and has fun and leaves.
Yeah.
Well, and then there's shit you can do if you want. You could go grind
Absolutely.
different reps, to get trinkets and stuff. Like,
I mean, tabards and
but
stuff.
you don't
Be
have
that guy.
to. You don't have to.
Yeah,
That's the beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. Archaeology, you don't have to do it 1,000 times for a staff. You're going to replace the moment we go into raid week 1. But, you can do it if you feel like it.
Not me. That's not my cup of tea.
No.
No thanks. What about you, Glorious? What have you been up to?
Yeah, honestly, I was one of those who was very skeptical of Cataclysm because I played it originally, and for me it was like, this was not one of the better expansions. But then I watched a few videos and kind of get a bit hyped, and I started delivering. So it's just really, really, really great.
It's fun, right?
I'm just, almost level 70. We were just doing a group quest in Shadow Moon Valley before we came online. It's actually fun. It's funny that somehow it feels fresh. I don't know how is it possible, because it's kind of like it's small retail, bit not.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna raiding or how much I'm gonna raiding, but I'm looking forward for the camel mount. I would like that. And so that's kind of, there is some stuff that is going to be motivating, but also the leveling experience overall. That's what's got me hyped. Except for that one thing, it's a bit too easy for me. I mean, it could be a bit harder. Like two shining is not great, but otherwise the quests are nice. Places are nicely revamped. It feels fresh. I haven't played, I don't know how long. 5 years that. So.
Do you like the talent trees? That was a weird thing for me too. I don't know. I like it.
So you have to get all the way to the bottom.
After SOD, I mean, like I'm playing Warrior and Cataclysm, and it's just like crit.
Oh yeah, it's
like
completely different.
Heroic leap, right?
Yep.
This is when you get leap. I hear that's so much fun.
It is. It is the best warrior talent ever, aside from Bladestorm. But...
Right. So I think overall really nice. I like it.
Cool. What about you, Shib? What have you been up to?
Digging holes.
Digging holes.
Archaeology.
All right. So pretty much everyone in here is playing Cataclysm.
I played it once.
Right. You did the raids.
Fair.
You did the raids, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm jealous of that.
Well, only one raid. I wanted to go do others, but they were wanting to prog heroic, and I was just wanting to see everything.
Yeah, I watched a few heroic prog streams, and I was like, oh boy, this is like.
That's never been my cup of tea, man.
Yeah,
it really, like, I want to go in and see the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
And I mean, you have to if you're in a really good guild. I mean, that's why they look so good day one, is because they've spent 40 to 80 hours in PTR,
Yep.
I just prefer to do it in a slower fashion. I don't need to be the best. I
Yeah.
don't need to be in the best guild.
I'm excited to get into those raids. I was young back then. I remember doing Firelands on my Ret Paladin, and that is the most that I remember. I don't remember doing like the first tier or anything like that. So I'm pretty excited.
Firelands is definitely more memorable.
Yeah. I really remember Firelands. I remember having a lot of fun doing it, but I was like a teenager back then. So
I think.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I quit at the end of Wrath and didn't come back till right before Mop. So this is gonna be my first time raiding, and like I'm looking forward to it. It looks fun. Like I did some of them for like Transmog back in the day, like Firelands or whatever. Looks like a good time.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I think it's going to be really good, and I think it's going to be able to, like you guys said before, like coexist with Season of Discovery. For me, like I have a lot of people ask me like why I'm not making Cataclysm content or anything like that, and it's not that I don't like it or anything. It's just that I don't feel like I can be any sort of authority on it because I don't know enough about it. Like if there's a lot of interest in it, and we're really having a lot of fun. And I don't think I'm going to stop playing it when Phase 4 comes out, and I'm going to be playing both. You know, maybe we'll do a few podcasts like based around Kata stuff and
Dude,
things like
podcasts are
that.
the best because you bring people on like Scotty and Crix,
Yeah.
and they tell you everything.
Yeah.
Willie, like, and then you just get to learn along with it. Like, I mean,
Yeah. Exactly.
and it's crazy. The more you do podcasts, the more you have more guests on, the better you just get, more knowledgeable you get. It just kind of happens over time. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
You could have Go here in chat start talking. I mean, he knows his Kata stuff. Yeah.
Go does know his
yeah.
Kata
They've been
stuff.
doing a bunch. Him and Scotty.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, the title of this podcast is Season of Discovery is Not Dead, Change My Mind. And the reason that I went with that title for this podcast is mainly because I have been feeling, and this is like a personal thing, I guess, that there's like this overwhelming sense of like despair in like the classic player base. And this has been like building up over the past, like, I would say the past like month or two. You know, I get a lot of comments, good, and a lot of pretty negative, like downer comments on some of my videos. And like, you know, I put out a video this morning, and I don't know if anyone watched it, but
I watched it.
yeah, it was basically me just kind of going through each phase, talking about the good and the bad, and you know, like that. I don't think that, yes, there's been a player drop off right now because of Cataclysm. You could blame it on whatever you want, but that's completely fine. And I think that is natural in any expansion, patch, or version of World of Warcraft. That always happens. And in my opinion, it doesn't mean that it's dead, because I do feel like when Phase 4 SOD is announced, it is probably going to be like, I think it's actually going to blow Phase 1 out of the water. That's how much hype I think there's going to be around it, depending on what they announce. And I want to know what you guys think about that.
I think once they announce whatever our new raid is going to be, that's going to be where people just jump back in massive numbers, I think.
Yeah. I think it's going to be like Phase 1 all over again, if not more.
Well, it's weird though, isn't it? Because, okay, so if you look at the trends, you know, everybody always, like, towards, you know, the second to last raid or the last raid of the expansion, they're like, is WoW Classic dying? And it's like, no, dude, have you not been paying attention? Even back in the day. Yeah. Like, everybody, like, it just got slower and slower. The dungeons got harder and harder, and people just kept dropping off. I mean, it's literally a slant down in every expansion, and then everybody comes back. But this is going to be weird, because the hype, the big one is always the very first one. But we've had, what, you know, this is our third raid we're on, because we've stopped at each level. So there might be people that just didn't want to do that at all, and a ton of people coming back just to grind straight to 60 when Phase 4 is going to come out. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I actually think that's
what I was thinking about earlier.
Yep. Go ahead, Alan.
Well, I was thinking about earlier, the experience from like 1 to 60, and then you have all the 60 raids, as well as like the full leveling experience. I know there's a lot of people who played a little bit of Phase 1 and then said they're going to come back in Phase 4.
Yep,
right.
I know a ton of people like that.
I really do think we're going to have a large influx of people who haven't really played SOD at all.
Yeah,
right?
first timers, I
then
think.
They're gonna
a
get
lot
the whole
of them.
thing. Yeah, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. We're going to have a bunch more people doing stuff, and maybe we'll have a chance to go back and show these guys the earlier raids, you know? But, like, good experience, maybe.
Yeah,
right?
and I know myself and a lot of other people have talked about, like, the rune acquisition for previous phases. But when you guys just said that, it made me think of something completely different. Like, maybe, like, that is the reason why they haven't made it easier to obtain, like, previous phase runes. Because if we do get a massive influx of, you know, new players, they won't get to experience doing that. And that, like, to me, kind of makes sense.
Well, and you said, yeah, you could leave both. Like, all of our ideas have usually been leave both in, you know, but have other ways to get them.
Or, yeah, if you have a cap character or something.
Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, WoW players are going to do the easiest thing, the fastest thing, just like you talked about, you know, in your video today with the incursions. And I'm not going to lie, I did enjoy getting, like, level 50 so quick. It took a bunch of stress off of me. but it did suck. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
it wasn't, you know. But I don't know if it sucked more than it would have sucked just spending all my time in Zul'Farrak either. So, tit for tat, right?
I mean, sure. You could also like quest, right? But it's like,
Can you really quest?
I love quest. You can. Okay, when it first launches, you can definitely. Yeah. People like there's very little PvP. People are trying to get stuff done. Like even in the incursions, the first day, there was not one fight broke out at all on Crusader Strike.
We were busy. We had shit to do.
Yeah, same on Lone Wolf.
The next day, it started getting more. It kept building, right?
Yeah, that's and then it turned into just an absolute bloodbath. Like if you try to level a second character, it was nuts.
Well, you gotta keep in mind when people were farming honor, you could get it faster in the Nightmare incursion than you could in a BG.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean I don't know if maybe I like misspoke in the video. Like I watched it back and I was like I guess it can be kind of interpreted two different ways. Like I enjoyed the incursions in the beginning, like you said, Bob, like leveling fast was cool. But the only reason I did enjoy it was because I knew everyone else was doing that, right? Like
and dopamine, you just see that level.
Yeah, like your level's going up super fast, you're getting tons of money. Like it was great. And we didn't even start with the incursions. We were like we went there initially and there was like so many people and it was so buggy that I was like there is no way this is going to be faster than just going to Zul'Farrak. So we went to Uldaman and then we went to Zul'Farrak and then we come to find out that like people were literally hitting 50 while we were 43, and I was like, "This is bad." Like we really fucked up.
We were so raw, and we missed out on so much gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I still got 1,000 gold, but that's fine to stop.
Yeah, that was the killer. The gold.
What they should have done is it should have just been like every other repeatable quest. Like you get gold to start, and then you just get EXP after that. Like, and then like, so you have to choose. Do you want to have gold when you're done, or do you want to level fast? Like, there's pros and cons, right? Like,
that'd be kind of cool.
Whereas this, it's all pros, as you know, besides just repetitive gameplay. That's not a pro, but like everything else was a pro. Also that, and from the beginning of questing, like the little quests where you just like have to do something really small, those have always been small EXP gains.
Yeah.
Why the heck are all of them the same EXP gain?
Yeah.
Like the kill quest should be
kill a boss or pick up a box.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so I thought there should have been some discrepancy in like the different quests you do. Like the kill quests, if you do those, they should be 3 times.
Yeah.
You know, they should be what you were getting, and then you should have got quite a bit less for the other ones.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yep.
Completely agree. I mean, has anyone here tried the level 25 incursions? Because I have.
I have not. I watched S-Van do it.
Yeah, I
like
did them.
An hour.
Yeah, they were not the same. It felt really slow because you're running all around like Duskwood without a mount. You're aggroing everything. Like it was horrible. I was like, this is really bad. Like I'd rather quest. I did not like the 25 incursions at all. Hashtag rather be digging. Stop with the digging, dude. Everyone's digging, man. Every Twitch stream is digging. But
none of them are getting the item they want.
Yeah. Go ahead, Glorious.
I think it's not bad, but actually dead for the moment. I think we can all realize that like 4 out of 5 we don't play SOD right now. I mean logged in like a week ago when we had the raid.
Yeah. And, a lot of people are just raid logging.
Marcus in chat said it's hibernating. And I agree.
Yeah.
And it's gonna come out like a big strong bear in phase 4.
I think Blizzard is trying to do this kind of like what we discussed, like a service model where you have always something to look for forward.
Yeah.
And then as long as your mind is conditioned in a way that, no, it's okay that you run out of things to do right now because you can come back later, you switch to something else. As long as it's a Blizzard game, everyone is happy at Blizzard anyway. And that's kind of, I think, the idea behind. So I was not upset actually that I liked Kata. In fact, I'm already thinking of trying the Mists of Pandaria thing.
The remix.
Not because I was interested in
jealous.
it, but because why not?
I am jealous. I truly want to be excited. Like I truly am trying. Like I'm trying to get my wife excited. She's like also like my guild is kind of like They're like, I think we're just gonna do 10 man.
That's like, what we're doing too.
I want to be, but I'm also the weird guy that's still playing SOD. I'm doing shit like rogue and hunter, I'm trying to get every weapon skill to 250, so I'm just ready to go, like with whatever weapons are the best. Like I'm doing all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah, if I scroll through Twitch at night, Bob, out of all the WoW streamers, it's like you and 2 other people. I think it's like you, Bobka, and Shobek are like the people who are streaming Sod, and everyone else is literally, if you click on it, they're just digging. Yeah, everyone is digging in Canada.
Digging holes.
I mean, variety's the spice of life, man. There's nothing wrong with switching things up and doing different stuff. If you do one thing forever, it's going to drive you insane. So, like, I feel like people who are in a bad mood about Sod or Cata or whatever is just, I don't want to sound like that guy that says touch grass, but play another video game, right? There's other video games, right?
I'm in the middle. I'm straight in the
play
middle.
Hearthstone, do cards, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Do whatever.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being in the middle, or even just enjoying one over the other. You know what I mean? As long as you're having fun at the end of the day, that's what matters, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of people though that are just weird, and like, it's the whole. Now it's like it's always been the retail. Certain people just hate on retail. Like I fell into that trap early on, and then I was just like, dude, it's just not my game. Like it's just not my game. Like people like it. People like Call of Duty. It used to be my game. It's just not my game anymore. Like, and like it's not that it's not good. It's just that it's not for me. But people are like, what a their thing to be the best thing. And
yeah,
they want to
people go hard.
that. They're like, dude, Sod's dead as soon as Cata hits. Dude, Cata's dead as soon as Phase 4 hits. And it's like nothing's dead. Like there's still a lot of people inside. Like I'm still walking around. There's people everywhere.
Yeah.
So if I hop on my mage, I get ganked immediately. So like I know there's still people around. I show up on my hunter, so everyone's on their best fucking behavior. But if I'm on that mage, there's a rogue just waiting. Like,
I swear that's all it is right now in Sod. It's just
running
into
rogues everywhere.
Yeah.
Every bush has a rogue in it.
It's fun. It's so much fun when you're playing a rogue to gank everyone.
Well, for the rogue, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a blast. That's like
even when you don't gank. I like Mel and a friend were getting Songflower the other day, and I already had it, so I was just bored. There was this group of 3 alliance headed towards them, and I was just like, well, I better slow them down. So I spent 10 minutes sapping one, running away while they frantically tried to find me, and then waiting. And then they waited for their friend, and then they move again and sap a different one. Like none of them ever thought to put their PvP trinket on, or maybe they didn't have it. But I was just having a blast. And I never killed one of them.
Yep, that's the beauty of it, dude.
This is gonna be annoying.
Sod right now, it is very true to the classic era in that it is right now is very sandboxy, right? Like you kind of like can make your own fun. And that's what it's good for.
There are people who are just making money right now. They're just making
That's what I'm doing too.
Counting dollars.
I'm making good amounts of money.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I stopped at 1,000 gold, and I feel like that's probably going to be fine. But maybe not.
I mean, hey,
maybe not.
Well, I mean, if they're gonna put out, I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, if they put out Alteric Valley right at the start, we're gonna level in Alteric Valley, and we're gonna be able to buy the cheaper mount. Like it's gonna, I think it's like 650 instead of 1,000.
Oh yeah, that's
or
true.
900 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I didn't even think about
we'll
that.
Make normal mounts cheaper too, though. So they might not for epic mounts, but
they might not for epic mounts. I bet you.
I kind of hope they don't.
After we all buy them, then they'll lower the price.
After Cheese buys it, then it's getting dropped.
Yeah.
Just wait for Cheese to get his mount, and then you can buy.
Yeah,
then you're
true.
good. Yeah,
that's so true.
How is the this is probably a question for you, Bob, because you've been doing the most of it. How is the PvP feeling with the last test that they did?
It felt great. So the first test, they just did a straight like 50% damage reduction across the board. But they did that, and they didn't take out the extra stamina buff you got when you would go in there. So literally, we went from having our Arathi Basin games that were like 3-2 the whole time, so about a half an hour, right? If you're like 3-2 the whole time.
Right.
And they used to be like 50 to 60 kills, killing blows for the top guys.
Mm-hmm.
We ended one that was a 35-minute game, and 8 killing blows was the top guy.
Oh my god.
Or girl. Like,
so everyone was just a
so
raid
like,
boss.
yeah. You just like, I mean, you couldn't kill anybody, and then when you finally would kill them, there'd be like the respawns would be all already back in. It felt really bad. But then the next test, where they made ranged a little bit weaker, like I don't know how that worked for Hunter though, but like they had more of a reduction,
which was fine.
Oh, it was only spell damage.
Yeah, it was spell damage. I just don't know what ranged melee or ranged physical damage, if there were any stipulations on that, but it felt really good. The healing seemed like you could kill people by CCing, you know, like you weren't like destroying people immediately, but you could go blind the healer and get somebody down, you know, whereas like before it didn't feel like that. So the last 2 weeks it felt pretty good. I didn't notice a whole ton of difference between this week and last, because the only change is they just changed healing debuff from 20% to 30% reduction. So healers probably noticed more, but it was fun the entire time, and it didn't feel oppressive.
So in your opinion, if they left it how they did and how they tested it this past weekend, that would be good, you think?
I'd be good with it. And yeah, and and I forgot to say, with the last 2 tests, they took the stamina buff out, which feels good because the food just wasn't keeping up with our health. Like my Hunter had 7k health when he had the buffs, so like I had to eat 3 times to eat fully, and the highest band-aid you could get is 2k. Like,
yep.
So
yeah, I'm not gonna lie,
the stamina buff felt weird.
I would take bad fights just to die, because it would be faster to die and revive than it would be to heal myself normally.
Yeah, that's
true.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I would literally just take on 2 people at 50% HP, knowing I would die, and just try to get them low enough that they would make the same decision in 20 seconds.
That makes sense.
I was also there in the first test, which was pretty much after the first one I switched to healer, because otherwise it was just unplayable. And then the second test was also good for me. I switched back to Shadow. It was almost like balanced. Okay, I would not go as far as calling it balanced, but it was still fun. I didn't one shot. I mean, shamans are still, I think, I don't know what's going. Okay, maybe I'm hater of shamans, but I feel like they're comparatively overpowered. Okay, I don't know.
They're very powerful.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, like, everyone else, I think it was okay. It was kind of balanced.
Pallies are powerful in a different way, but it's an annoying way, man. Like, you're just like, do they have bubble? Do they bop?
Yeah.
Have they used their damn lay on hands? Like, they could just live forever. And it's just like, damn it. But yeah, they both have pros and cons for sure. But I think Shaman's probably a little bit more powerful.
Not have too much damage, so it's like, I would assume that they just ignore the paladin and then focus on everyone else, and then after that,
it depends. Okay, so if there's only like 2, you find it real easy, because you basically make one blow his bubble, then you just move right off, and then we're like constantly going, okay, so doesn't have bubble, blah blah blah, right? But then if you get in a game and there's 7 of them at the blacksmith, you don't know which one's bubbled. Like, you lose count of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I know.
And I think
for Hunter, it felt good. For Mage, it was, I don't know, good and bad, right? You weren't getting popped anymore. So I was just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to walk down this road, and cool, I'm at the graveyard. That's weird. My screen just turned gray. That's neat. Now, you know what's happening. Man. Yeah, they were, yeah. I still feel like my ability to kill people is even worse, but it has opened up a door of being an annoying prick that I feel like wasn't available to me on my Mage before, where I can just freeze and slow and survive forever. And then I don't kill anybody, but nobody wants to be alive anymore.
So in your opinion, what do mages need, Alan?
Just combo potential. That's always kind of been like their whole shtick, right? Like,
yeah.
For the whole history of Mage, it's just I'm going to play around. I'm going to burn your cooldowns. I'm going to set up. Very much like Rogue. You're using ice instead of being hidden.
Right.
You know, and you don't really have that somewhat. Like, your combo potential just isn't as potent as before. You can still do it. Don't get me wrong. If I get lucky with a couple of crits and on like I have that Fingers of Frost set up, right, and I get that polymorph, I can still crush people down with what's effectively going to be 3 Frostfire bolts, because you can get your first one out, your second one comes out as you hit Deep Freeze, so Deep Freeze takes the charge, and then you can get a third Frostfire Bolt. It hits really hard, but like when there's other people around, it's more dangerous because okay, I'm at 30% HP now, and that rogue is thirsty. You're dead, right? That's just how it is. He's hidden. He wants you. He's going to get you. But like it's kind of hard to close. You know what I mean on mage.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just a lot of drawing it out, resetting, drinking, get my mana back, drawing it out, resetting, get my mana back, drawing it out. And that's what I mean by no one's dead, but no one wants to be alive anymore. It's just a really tedious, horrible experience for them, and that almost brings me as much joy as sending them to the graveyard. Right?
Honestly,
typical mage play.
But honestly, is it like, okay, I think a lot of people get confused a lot of time and think killing blows are like the most important thing, and kills, I mean, they're important to get more honor, but the problem is that the biggest thing is CCing and spinning, like keeping that flag from getting capped. Like if I'm one rogue and I'm trying, like I could stop 3 people and be annoying to where they can't cap and my team can get there in time. Like, and that's what a mage can do too, which is just really cool, you know?
It's like flag tanking. So for AB, it's definitely a lot better. Out in the world, I kind of hate it, but in AB, I was having a bit more fun. I should probably finish grinding that mage's rank up now that I can actually survive the initial 2 mutilates. You know?
It literally was that bad. It was
pretty bad.
Mutilate, dead.
Dead instantly. Oh my god, the most fun I've
I'm
ever
aware.
had. And going from playing warrior to playing my rogue was just night and day. Like warrior, I didn't get a chance to test it with the PvP changes or anything, but I can imagine it's probably the exact same thing where you're just so incredibly weak unless you have a healer with you, because that's just the play style. That's just how it is. Or 2, yeah.
Yeah,
because they'll lock down your one healer. You have to have the other healer to keep that healer up too.
Yeah. I mean, some of the most fun that I've had in SOD so far has been playing my rogue and just running around Fellwood and killing people that are trying to get Songflower and stuff. Like, it is just the most fun ever. On my warrior, I don't even want to go anywhere in the open world because I am just a target.
Scared to death.
I'll just die.
Yeah, you're like kid who got bullied and thrown in the lockers and started going to the gym.
Yeah.
bully sunflower guys.
Yeah, that's what I was doing, dude.
I thought I knew you, but
it's fun. It's more fun than you can imagine.
Killing people, I respect. Dispelling people, I don't. Like,
yeah, agreed.
Like just rezzing and dispelling, I don't like. But if you kill me, I'm like, all right, dude.
Yeah, there's honor in the kill.
You know, it's yours. Yep. Yeah.
But
especially if you kill them while they have Songflower active and they got that buff, and you're like,
haven't boned it yet.
Best feeling ever, dude. The best feeling ever. And the dispelling thing is just that's so BM, because I remember back in 2019 Classic, we would get all of our buffs. Everything was timed. My whole guild.
One level 15 fucking
dude.
priest.
We would hearth back to Stormwind, and this one shaman would stay dead in Stormwind on the fountain. This Tauren shaman would stay dead the entire week, and on Friday nights he would res repeatedly and just purge everyone who was hearthing into the inn over and over again. This guy did this for like the entirety of 2019 Classic through each phase. Wow. He left that shaman dead on the fountain and just did this every week.
I can smell the unwashed BO from here.
It was fucking brutal, dude. It was really, really brutal. But that's good to know that the PvP test went well. So I'm wondering if they'll actually implement that as like a permanent thing.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
You think so?
Otherwise, it's not
I think they will.
playable, honestly.
Well, like some variation of it. Like, you know, like Sod's whole thing is it's the experimentation team, right?
Right.
These are the same guys who made Plunderstorm. They're all about just making, you know, cool little things, cool little changes. So
yeah. And hey, if it's a positive change, that's a good thing, because the PvP was really terrible before.
Yeah,
so.
Dude, it was probably the worst experience on my mage I think I've ever had.
Dude, Cheese just said his body is still there on Classic Era. See, that shaman is still there from 2019. He never left, dude. He never left. Every Friday he would do this.
Yeah. Fucking why Friday?
I don't know, because that was like the biggest day.
The day he got off from work.
And it was like everyone just went to like working from home and shit, so that was like the big raid day.
I got this image of this dude coming home from work on Friday. He's got this white monster.
Make some
down,
popcorn.
Right. He's got his chips and everything.
Yeah.
He's got that little hop going up the stairs to his house or his apartment or whatever.
Yeah. His name was something Foot, like Littlefoot or something like that.
Make sure he stinks as hard as possible, like he's cultivating a BO.
I hope he sees this video,
right?
dude. I really
he knows.
do.
And he's sitting down. He's got that classical music playing, just giggling like an asshole the entire time.
Cheese is going to log on and send us the screenshot of him still there from 2019. But, yeah, so that's good. Go ahead, Bob.
Well, I was going to say, and then multi-boxers, too, made people angry. Took a long time for Jerome to like beat that whole hate that so many people had for him.
Wait, what happened?
Well, No Hit Jerome used to be a like he was a 40-man streamer that did what's it called, multi-boxing. So he had 40 mages.
Oh my god!
And blow up entire like raids, like two raids, 80 people be walking in and he res.
I did not know that.
Safe so many times. And
40 mages in classic all hitting like Blizzard or something.
Dude, just arcade. He would just res them all at once, and arcade explosion. The whole group walking in. And killed most of them.
Dude.
I watched Jerome like every day. I did not know he did that.
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah,
that's
he was.
crazy.
It took him. It took him a long time because then they outlawed that, and he was like,
yeah.
I better find something else.
That is $600 a month to grief people.
Well,
That is crazy cool.
I believe like his initial funds. I mean, he had tons of people watching that though, because it was so interesting. Like
I would watch that now.
Watching, but he started it because of retail. He was able to buy a whole bunch of accounts initially with the WoW token.
WoW Gold. That's how I buy all my Overwatch stuff is retail WoW Gold.
That's crazy. I did not know that. I had no idea that Jerome did that. That's so
that's
so good, dude. I wish I'm gonna find videos of that. Can I find that on YouTube?
I'm sure you can. Like both me and Josh Corbett from Countdown to Classic had him on to talk about it, different things, and he talked about the programs you use and everything.
That is fucking awesome. That really is. Cool.
Yeah. He was like, he didn't even like to talk about it for a long time after because he got so much hate from so many people, which is funny because he's like one of the nicest dudes imaginable.
He's like such a likable guy on his stream and everything. Like I could not see him doing that.
Turns out he is several people's actual real life villain.
Yeah, that's crazy. Did he make it into the new Mad Season video?
He would get so excited, he'd be like jumping around his chair, putting his foot behind his head, like going,
"Oh my god!"
like as soon as he wiped a raid, it was great, man. It was good content.
That is
it probably would have felt different if I was on his server, but luckily I was on White Main and not Fairlina.
Yeah, I was about to say the first thing that came up for me is Rain will regret coming to Fairlina. he is that guy.
Oh my god, I gotta watch after this. I gotta check that out.
These poor dudes are just hanging out in the Gurbashi Arena on the wrong day, man.
So,
bro, you guys got like these horror stories from like Fairlina and Benediction, all these things, and like I just played on Globulus, and it was such a good time. Oh my god,
being a Globulus was good for sure.
Were you Horde or Alliance?
Alliance.
Okay.
Yeah, Globulus was amazing, but Whitebane was good. So Whitebane Phase 2 was like, we make jokes that we should have shirts that say Phase 2, never forget. Like we were Alliance, it was like 30-70, Alliance 30, and it was horrible.
Oh my god.
Then a whole bunch of transfers happened, and AQ on through the end of Classic Vanilla, it was 50-50 on Whitemane, and then it shifted back during TBC. So we had a good time for a bit, but Globulus was there the whole time, 50-50. It was absolutely
great.
Is it really still?
The entire time.
And these freaking turds just made me transfer my druid over.
Yeah,
dude, come on. You had to come to Benediction, Shibby.
Please.
Oh my gosh.
Benediction's where it's at, dude.
No.
You're at Benediction too, Bob?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I played on Grob in TBC. I had a rogue over on Globulus, and I was doing arenas, and for me, the ping was, it was not cool. I was over 100 ping, like it did not feel good.
That was better for me.
Who's
really?
your provider?
I got GoNet here. I'm on
Interesting.
East Coast. I don't know
GoNet.
where anyone else is.
What
Yeah, I
is
got
even
Viber and
West?
shit. Like it's not bad. It's just for some reason Grobulus, my ping was awful, dude. It was like 112.
Yeah, I don't think there's not one NA server I have over like 50.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm
I'm
far
Google
west
Fiber
coast.
here, Midwest.
Okay. Dude, on SOD, yeah,
I
my
haven't
ping
tried
is like
it since I got
95
my new
on
provider,
SOD.
so maybe I'll make
Really?
a character on it and see.
Yep.
That's-
Because
that's-
I
that
went from
says-
being like 100 down to 45 since I got my new one, so maybe I'll check it out again.
Yep.
Sounds like some weird traffic shaping.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but for some reason I loved it. I loved the server. I loved that there was actual horde and like there was world PvP and TBC on Grobulus. But doing arenas, like I had to transfer my rogue off to Benediction because I was like having 100 ping is just it felt so bad to me. I mean, even going from me playing SOD with like 90 ping because the servers they're in the middle of the country, right? They're like I'm on all the way up by New York and
They're in Glorious's closet.
they're in Glorious's closet, yeah. And it going from SOD to like logging on to Benediction on Kata, it's like I didn't even realize how high my ping felt on SOD. But yeah, it's bad. Like 90 ping it sucks for me. I do not. Am I the
That's
only
okay.
person
That's
here on the East
bizarre.
Coast?
No,
I have friends on
the
no,
East
I'm
Coast and
farther
they don't
east
have
than
that
you.
ping.
What are you talking
Really?
about?
Yeah,
Oh, well, I know
nobody
you
that
are,
I've
yeah.
talked to has that ping
Yeah.
unless they're overseas. Like that's what.
Yes, I was
like,
going to say that I was playing from Europe, and my ping was 170 connecting to US server, and that's
that's a
but
high
then
ping.
I mean yours is way too high. I mean it should
Way
be in
too
East
high.
Coast.
Yeah.
Is even if you connect to like a mid server, it should not be higher than like 50.
There was more
Yeah.
than a few games that were having that issue. I remember Smite was having that issue for a while too. If you're East Coast playing on any of the West Coast servers, you had like a 200 ping, crazy stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe it's the same deal. I don't know
Yeah.
if my new provider thing's been better. Well, I say
think
new
it's
provider like it was a
provider-based.
choice.
It
where I
probably
got
is,
put.
yeah.
It's the only provider, so luckily it worked out. But
Some
I could go back.
providers traffic shape more than others. And traffic shaping doesn't affect your
annoying.
download speeds, but it affects your peer-to-peer direct ping for gaming. Like I remember when I switched from AT&T to Google Fiber, both were fiber, but when I went to Google Fiber, my Overwatch ping went from 24 to 6
Oh my god.
because
nice.
Google
Oh,
just
that would
didn't
be
traffic
beautiful.
shape anything. Like so.
God, that'd be so
Like,
nice.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, that sounds
I got my Overwatch ping down to like 15-ish, plus or minus 2, and that was massive for me because I was playing it in the first couple of seasons when I was pushing for like top 500. I had like a 45, 50 ping.
Oh,
And
wow, top 500.
I wanted to slam my head against the wall. There was the moment I got like, I changed my internet. It just felt better. So like playing Tracer in that is not. Like, yeah, she could warp through time. Cool. I don't want to be. So we'll figure that one out. I know I haven't played Overwatch in a while though. I dabbled in Overwatch too, just to like get to like Masters on my alt and GM on my main, and then I stopped again.
I've only been Masters once on Rhine during Goats.
Masters is peak rank. Honestly, it's the most fun rank.
I
Yeah,
Masters.
I got Diamond on a billion different things, but never Masters once for about a week and a half, and then I was out.
Still got it. Still got it. You still got it, baby. When you get into GM, you can't fool around as much. You have to be a meta slave. There's no getting around it, you know. But in Masters, you get to just do whatever. You know, you want to be a funny little guy, you can be a funny little guy.
I never
Well,
got on the
you know
Overwatch train, dude. I never got into it.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm a big shooter guy. That's all I played.
Are you?
But
Are you though?
Huh.
I really never got into Overwatch. I don't know
I
why.
had a podcast. Like I know most of the people in the scene still. I remember watching Sarth. I introduced Sarth to Mitch, Uber, at BlizzCon, and I've never seen Sarth starstruck. He was like stuttering. It was great. He was so excited to meet him. Oh man, but yeah, I would play with my friend Frito, who does the Your Overwatch YouTube channel. And he it was always amazing how much he would know and how quickly he was able to know what we needed to counter. And I mean, that's the skill in that game, is knowing what swaps to make and when.
Even when, yeah.
Overwatch is all meta, right?
Whether or not it's worth it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's that, like, I don't know, the economy to it, with your alt charge and the like, or even what points to swap characters to. Because yeah, sure, this is a counter, but the character you're currently playing is really good at this spot in the map. So
yeah,
there's a lot to it.
It was a good time, man. It was a good time. Right. Okay, well, this isn't an Overwatch podcast. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right.
Got distracted.
Tangent.
It's all Blizzard stuff, though. We're just Blizzard right now.
I was just looking at our list of like notes, and there is two things on here that I do want to bring up in this particular podcast. And one of them we kind of touched on a little bit earlier when we first started, but that was previous phase raid relevance. And do we think they're going to just be dead, or do we think people are still going to be doing them? And we kind of answered that already, but I guess we could elaborate a little bit. Like we were saying, if phase 4 actually does take off and we get a lot of those like first timers, people who are coming to play SOD for the first time, like I feel like those raids actually might have a healthy group of people doing them every lockout.
They'll
right?
get crushed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. They'll be used for leveling up, right? Like that will be the whole purpose of it.
Or getting like your staff if you might get it, because like that weapon is still crazy good.
Yeah.
For being a level 25 weapon,
I think they gotta be relevant along with like Blackrock Spire and Dire Maul and all that stuff. Otherwise, even if we get like Karazhan Crypts and it's so good, it's just gonna, I think, follow the other phases and where it just fizzles out after people got it on speed runs if they don't put in more content to do.
Yep.
So
I mean, even if they just made like a level 60 version of it that cycled through, right? Like I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Well, people will be going back and grinding those dungeons more, I think, if Blizzard comes out and tells us what the final plan is. Like they kind of did in Crix's interview today. Clay Stone, the head of the WoW Classic team, did come out and say that they plan on letting us keep our characters. But if we get more definite answers of where our characters are going to go in the end, I mean, I would be more inclined to go back with smaller groups, trying to grab like the mount, trying to grab the World Warper, which is a really good time. Like using that, you can go to all kinds of weird places. Like it's like there's a whole bunch of stuff. The grub thing was hilarious. I actually had that on because I was joking around, and I fucking was a grub for the first boss last Sunday in a sunken temple. I was literally a grub, fighting because I've got all my stuff macroed in and different things. So I just hit the macro and it uses all my trinkets, and I was just a grub. It was just like, Bob is gonna be mad at me.
I think you nailed it there, Bob. Like we kind of at this point, like I think it is important. B in chat said SOD is dead. Thank you, B. I did not realize. We at this point need some kind of like clarification on like what is coming, when it's coming, what the plan is here at the end. Like, are we getting Molten Core and BWL and Oni and Nax and AQ off the rip? Are we going to get a phased launch? Is this season going to be a year and a half long? Is it going to be ending in November? I think I heart you too, B. I was just kidding, buddy. Like I think that's actually what did you say? I think SOD needs archaeology. Please, for the love of God, keep that away from me, dude. I don't want anything to do with archaeology.
That's how you're gonna get your new runes.
I don't want it, man.
You gotta dig them up.
No, we're not digging for runes in SOD. We're not. Keep archaeology out of it. Yeah, like I think that's important. What Bob just brought up. Like I think we do need to, at this point, have some sort of idea what's happening here. Like when it's happening. We need, we have our little roadmap that they gave us at the beginning of the year. But I think it really deters a lot of people from playing at a certain level by not knowing what's happening next and when it's happening and how long it's happening for. So I think that's actually something that... Go ahead, Bob.
And I'd be playing more Kata right now, possibly, if I knew they were going to elongate phase 4 because there's still a few things I want to get done. But if I had the time, if I knew when phase 4 was coming, I'd be like, oh, I got plenty of time for Cata. All right, jump on and do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they need to give us some kind of
like,
clarification.
Finish Final Fantasy, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might be reacting though. You know what I mean? Like they got a bunch of stuff in the pocket and they're just kind of breaking it out when it makes sense to do so, right? Because from my understanding, their experimental team is getting pulled in a lot of different directions, so it's hard to tell when things are actually going to get done or when it makes sense to release it.
Yeah. So, but in my opinion, I think that hurts. It hurts a little bit. It hurts the community a little bit. Just because of like what Bob said, like he'd be playing more Cata if he knew that the phase was going to be longer, right? And there was more time.
100%.
Like I think that some clarification on that, even just a little bit of like, hey, this is the general timeline right now. Phase 4 is coming in July, and it's going to start with Molten Core and Oni, and then in August we're going to get BWL. Like I think it's important. Go ahead, Gloria. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say that my concern about phase 4 is similar. Like as you said, like they need to explain us what's the plan, and I hope that the plan is not like classic with new abilities, because SOD should be a bit more. And if they're just phasing out the raids and they put in an extra token raid just so that they can say that this is the SOD version, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be on board that long, because I also burn out like in the middle of the second raid, or I don't know, BWR or something after that. So I really hope they have some other content in mind when it comes to phase 4. And I'm pretty sure I'm the minority. I know that a lot of people love endgame raiding and all that, but I mean if there is gonna be 4 raids and there is no other plans and just an extra again token raid, then I don't know for me.
I feel like they got to do some kind of updates for the raids coming out, because like hot take, Molten Core was really boring. We liked it because it's the first time we had 40 dudes going in to mess people up, right? It was almost like the scale of it that made it really cool.
Here is the deal.
But it wasn't it wasn't like what you're doing.
So in phase 3, you I think everyone can agree that the raid is pretty good, right? More of them. We can argue about like whether it should be a 10-man or a 20-man, because I've seen a lot of comments about 20-man breaking up guilds and all that. But I think the raids are okay. People are not playing because the raids. I mean, they're not playing because there is nothing else really to play for except for the raid. And so if phase 4 is going to be the same thing, that they rework Molten Core and BWL, and that's gonna be the content. I'm not sure if that's enough. But not for me. Maybe for others it's gonna be enough. I just wish that they really put this back. Maybe they make the runes like a long quest chain that requires for you to kill certain bosses in Molten Core multiple times, or some deeper, like that requires you to log in multiple times a week or something like that.
I think if they get some sort of new successful PvP system in there, battleground, that people just actually can do for fun.
Well, if they made a new battleground,
something like that,
that'd be really cool.
Or
like,
just,
like,
or
these
just
guys
add
have
it
been
in. Add in the one from TBC.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, these
Eye of the Storm.
Eye of the Storm.
It's close enough to. Like I like Eye of the Storm a lot. Like so. Yeah. I mean that'd be great.
That's all.
Add Gilneas. Fuck it.
Gilneas, that would be sick.
My favorite. That would be great.
Yeah, I think they should focus.
I agree.
They should.
And the thing is, sorry.
So I was just going to say they should focus not just on the raids. So I think we are on the same page on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
If they just focus on the raids, it's gonna be.
These guys have they've been putting out pretty solid bangers. They haven't missed a whole lot, this experimental team. So I mean, I have some decent faith that they'll come up with something, right?
Well, they did though. Yeah. They did do not just the raids here in phase 3. They made a lot of BIS items in dungeons, but like I couldn't talk people into doing dungeons to save my life. I was like, dude, like it's literally second BIS. Like you don't know when you're gonna get this drop. Like let's just go do this. And then they're like, well, I don't know. I was like, no, they upped it. Like look at your BIS list. Like there's a shit ton of stuff that's second and third BIS, and some even BIS.
Yeah.
Like in dungeons, and it's just like people are like not willing to do it. But what did we talk about on my podcast this last week? Somebody, it was Tyrannosaur, I think, that came up with like, why don't they release phase 4 with no raid
Bingo.
for like 2 or 3 weeks, and
Yes.
everybody is just like moving
That-
through Ubers,
Yeah.
moving
Oh,
through
yeah. We
everything,
got
and
tons of
getting
stuff.
all of our we get to
Ubers,
enjoy
movers,
all of
Strat.
that shit instead of just forcing ourselves into Molten Core, because we will do that.
Yeah, if it's an option, that's what people will do.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's what I was talking about earlier a little bit in the video that I put out, is that this whole like releasing, so the phase unlocks on a Thursday, and then on Tuesday the raid resets for the first time. So most people are trying to get in there before that first reset. So you'll do whatever it takes, even if it's not fun. You're ignoring professions, you're ignoring everything just to hit cap level and get into that raid.
And
That's the natural response, because that's what we're RPG players. We're here to game. We have a goal. We're gonna do it, right? Like,
well, and the race to world first was a little boring for me because I was wanting to see the new runes. They went in with no new runes, nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I was like, oh, all right. Whereas the race to world first could actually be something really cool. We'd get to see, like, I don't know if it should be that way every time, but change it up. Like this time, let everybody prepare to the 9th degree, and we'll see what they did for preparation. Like, I remember one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life was the TBC race to world first. Oh gosh, the Lady Vash, that raid.
SSC.
Yes.
SCC, yep.
And I watched these speedrunners jump
Server
off
Shrine
the
Cavern.
elevator. Yeah. And I watched these speedrunners jump off the elevator, use rocket boots, use their parachute cloak. Like, that was some cool ass shit, man. Like, and if you're racing, leveling, none of that stuff is born.
None of it.
In my opinion.
It should be like 2 weeks after the phase starts. Or even longer,
cool.
like you said, yeah.
Well,
It would give you something to look
really
forward
give us
to.
something.
It would force you into those dungeons to actually farm some pre-raid bis. They're doing it with Kata, right? Kata drops next Monday on the 20th, and the raid doesn't unlock until the 30th. That's
Dude,
only.
that's like,
Go ahead,
I
Chip.
feel like that's so many people's like favorite part of every WoW release is that
Pre-raid.
It's the
pre-bis
start.
farm.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the start of the expansion.
yes.
Where we're all doing that stuff.
Doing like the heroic world tours every day and stuff like that. Like people get into it. It's fun.
Yeah, I used to boost characters on Classic 2019 Classic just to farm pre-bis on them, and then I probably wouldn't even raid on most of them. I just loved doing like Ubers and doing that whole thing, farming Hodge. Like, I loved it. That was my favorite part of Classic, and I think that if they did that for this last phase of SOD, that would be just fucking enormous. Like if they said, hey, the phase is coming out, let's say June 20th, right, and the raid doesn't unlock until like July 10th, that would be fantastic. Like 20 days of just like level, do your professions, farm some pre-raid, prep, like look up, anything, all the data mine stuff. Like, I think that would just add so much. And it would also like elongate these phases quite a bit.
And to take off stress for a lot of people like me,
Especially at like an open world event too, to get you out, and that's where you got some of your pre-raid bis. Was we have STV twice in a row, which whatever. But like if they had like a PVE kind of like World 1-2, you know what I mean, just to get people to go out there and maybe compete with the other faction.
Well,
right.
That sounds a lot like Nightmare Incursions, Alan.
Well,
a PVE event to compete with other faction.
Talking about Nightmare Incursions.
Clearly wasn't
hard mode Nightmare Incursions.
Hard mode Nightmare Incursions.
Hard mode.
I mean, if we had like an AV kind of
here.
situation out in the world, just like an idea, right? Something to get people to go out and interact with the world, right? Because that's like the whole strength of Classic. It's the whole strength of SOD is that there's a world to interact with, In later expansions, once we get to cap, we kind of just live in instances,
Live in main cities.
Yeah.
But Classic has the strength of this massive world that hasn't been replicated.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was done. That was the end of my thought.
I was just going to say that I would argue that Mist of Pandaria is one of my favorite expansion. Had made you go out actually out from the city, and I don't know why they forget about it, and they are trying to replicate it with different ways. But I think in SOD again, this incursion thing kind of killed this word part, their discovery part. I just hope that they're gonna realize it, because I think literally everyone is complaining about incursion, not about the idea, but it's just too overpowered, and it just sucks people out of the herd and puts them in that phase. And I just hope they're
still
listening.
doing it. Like,
Yeah,
I know, because that's the best way to get experience, gold, and everything.
gold.
So it's pointless to do everything else.
It's gold too. We were okay. So they made the changes for PvP back last, I think it was phase 2, where if you queue as a like 6 or more raid, like it waits for another like
pre-made,
a pre-made. So it takes like forever. So we've been getting by it for like weeks and weeks and weeks, where we do 2 groups of 5 and we queue at the same time. Well, a Gren has caught on to me, and I don't know what he's doing, but we've literally the last 2 weeks we've tried to do it. We did it once a weekend every time, and like once or twice a weekend, and it's just failed. Like we'll go for an hour without getting in a game because it just won't sync. So this last weekend we're like, well, let's just try a pre-made. Let's just do a full pre-made. And we did that for Warsong Gulch, 10-man. And it was like 45 minutes, but we decided to go kill people at incursions because we were queuing in org. So we went to the incursions. There was a group of like 80 Alliance just running.
Oh my god.
Most of them max level. Like just using that stupid add-on that you could just like share with everybody, even if it's not in your group. Like, and so I was like, well, this is where everybody's at.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's where the money's at,
Yeah. I mean, if they found a way to make this last phase, like you said, Alan, get people out in the world, make it so that we're not rushing to just go into Molten Core, make it so that people are doing Lower Blackrock, Upper Blackrock, BRD again, Dire Maul, Strat, Skolo. Like, these are some of like the most iconic, like classic endgame dungeons, right? Like Dire Maul alone is like, that's huge.
I can't wait for jump runs. I'm in the money. I'm in the money.
You need some Skolo.
Do you think that's
Skolo?
Do you think that it's possible that they're gonna?
Skolo is tough, dude. That's the toughest dungeon. I
Fun
think.
dungeon.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, yeah. But if you don't know what you're doing, or your tank doesn't know how to like line of sight pull, you're gonna have. I mean, same with Strath. Either of those, if your tank doesn't know how to line of sight pull, you're gonna have a bad day. And I guarantee you, one of the biggest problems going in to phase 3 has been tanks. There's a whole bunch of new tanks. They did not understand like facing the mob away from the raid. They didn't understand a lot of things because all the raids were so easy. And if someone took aggro, they didn't die normally, right? Like they had plenty of time to taunt.
Breathe fire.
Yeah,
on the raid.
I mean, most of them probably still don't know how important defense rating is, or anything like that, right? So,
which is going to be weird going into the next thing too.
That's going to be a thing, right? We're going to be critting pretty
Warlocks,
soon.
and Shambies kind of get like an extra, like just get out of jail free card, whereas the plate users and the bears are going to be kind of fucked, needing to get defense gear.
Yeah, that is true.
Interesting.
Do you guys think that they're gonna make the raids like phased difficulty? Like the first raid should like Molten Core be as hard as Sunken Temple, as hard as BFD?
It's gotta be harder, man.
I really feel like it should be.
Now, there's gonna be multiple raids though, so it's possible to make it like first one is easy, then harder, then harder, like originally.
Especially if they make
go. I'm on the other side.
If they actually make you do like pre-raid stuff in dungeons, like they gotta make the raids harder.
If their focus is on,
I mean, it's gonna be 20-man. If you just drop it to 20-man, it becomes harder, right?
Yeah.
Not that hard, but harder. Because we have better gear now, right? And Zyrene's hard at work at making us good set bonuses, right? Too. So those are big.
But one of the reasons I asked about difficulty, because I've seen a whole lot of comments about people being upset that it's Sunken Temple is harder to pug, no gold DKP, guilds are disbanding because they don't have enough people, they cannot pull. So And basically, which is for me slightly weird because in the original classic it was a 40-man raid, both multiple 40-man raids. So it's like, how is it possible a 20-man raid is killing them? And I think that's because, again, the difficulty is not super easy to pug. I mean, if it's easier to pug like a Cataclysm or a Retail, that's kind of like weird in a way, because SOD first phase, second phase was pretty puggable, I think. Maybe second is middle, but
Yeah.
I would argue that they should make it a bit easier the first one or two, and then gradually harder.
Well,
I agree with you.
Everyone have
I
their own.
agree
Well,
with
here's
you.
my thing on that though. Do you think that Sunken Temple is harder than just like original Molten Core?
Yeah,
I think you have to actually. Yeah.
It has the.
And I'll explain why.
It has
Okay,
the
if
possibility.
anybody
Oh,
else
sorry.
wants
Go
to
ahead. No, go ahead, man.
You go.
I was just gonna
Okay.
say quickly. It has, basically at least the last boss where one person could pretty much wipe the raid, whereas Molten Core really didn't have that. So it's not like so much
You
harder.
kind of have that with the bomb.
I was gonna say, yeah.
That's really
Back-
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was gonna say. It's not that it's technically harder, but you do need 20 competent people, whereas Molten Core originally you need 10 competent people, and you could have 30. As long as they don't butt pull, and even if they do butt pull, you're probably okay.
Right.
Like
So you guys
that's
think
the difference?
you
It's
guys
very
think Molten
uncommon.
Core should be the
Personal
original difficulty, basically? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I think it should be hard. Like, I would argue that there's nothing really hard at all in SOD, right? Like, if we're talking about like difficulty, in Wrath you can clear the raid with 10 decent people in like 25 man, no issues. In Cataclysm, it's gonna be a lot harder to carry people, right? That's when the free ride kind of ends in Cataclysm. And I know that's where a lot of people are going to complain a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same deal here with Sunken Temple, specifically because I know for a fact that Hakar is easier with 10 competent people than 20 mediocre people, because it takes one
could see that,
person
yep.
to not pay attention for a quarter of a second,
And
and
it's
it
not a
just gets
DPS
unlucky
race.
and they wipe everybody. Yeah,
Well,
you can take forever to do
Not a
it.
DPS race.
You can hang out there for 40 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine.
Last week we had that pug who DC'd that. I think he was the one that wiped us, and we went with 19, and I was healing as Boomy. I didn't even switch specs, and
Yep, and we
it
did
just
fine.
went smoother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
that's true.
Sunken Temple is, if your healers are not pretty good, actually you can wipe a whole lot more than just the last boss. If your healers are not decent, I mean, and
Sure.
that's
Well,
on BFD. I'm not saying that you didn't have to play the game, but honestly, if half of the raid died, you could still probably kill the bosses, and that's I think what most people are looking for. Some like long dungeons, not like
Right.
raids. And
There's also comp, right? Too, comp is a big thing. Like, I don't know how it is on the
absolutely.
alliance side, but as long as you have 4 chamois, 1 for each group on Horde side, the raid goes from being pretty difficult to like very manageable, like super manageable, because of the utility shamans give. Shamanistic rage for like mana, and then like Wind Fury Totem, like all of this stuff, like grounding totem,
Even just your cleansing totem, right?
Cleansing totem, poison
because
totem.
a lot of
yeah,
people
all
don't
of these.
respect they don't respect the poison rain, and that's where I feel like you have to have like some kind of decent healer, because people just don't respect the droplets, man. They're like, that's tiny, that's not gonna do anything. You know,
And
their healers are freaking out.
But if we're gonna have a bunch of people coming back for phase 4, I say double down. I mean, we all as content creators, lots of us, and like good players, like we like to have a challenge, but I don't think the majority of people do. And we
I agree.
see it with the
Spikes of
degrade of
challenge,
everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I say they like just come out and straight say Molten Core is gonna be a breeze. Everybody come back, like, and then we work on making stuff tougher as we go. I mean,
they can make it sound super epic and then just kind of like subtly hint, come get your epics, my guys.
I think
it's like a nice subtle curve of increased difficulty.
I think we talked
people are
about
fine with
this like way back on your podcast when I was on there, Bob, and we talked about like having like hard modes or heroic versions of the raids, and I'm pretty sure you were against it. Am I wrong, or am I right?
Only against it. I am definitely for it. I'm hardcore for it. I'm against giving better
gear. Item level gear. Yeah.
I want to get
I agree with that.
mounts, titles.
Cosmetics,
I want to get auras.
That's
toys,
I think that's the ticket.
things.
That's the meal ticket.
Those are
absolutely.
Yeah, and
give someone a sparkly little bauble, they'll do anything for it. You kidding me?
And everybody tells me, oh, well, they're not going to do it if there's not better gear. I'm like, dude, there's not better gear for speed fucking running. Like, people are doing it in Classic. Like, people, like, leave it for the people that really want to push themselves to the next level and give them something to show off that they've done that. But don't gimp everybody else, because it's the age-old problem with what I think retail went through for years. And, you know, I could be wrong, but I guarantee you I don't guarantee. I guess that the majority of people watching Mythic Raiders were like, oh, well, I could do this if I had the time to be able to get that gear, right? But it's cooler watching the speed runs in Classic, because it's like, they're doing that with my gear. They're doing that. They're that damn fucking good. Like, I don't know.
There's no excuse.
Anything to blame it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I hear that a lot when I was Mythic raiding, and then you'd get people in the seat, and it's like, okay, well, gear's got nothing to do with it, man. It's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's literally skill, but it's what people.
Yeah.
It's
how they perceive
copium.
it.
Yeah.
Same thing with fighting games. People are like, oh, I could neutral jump. Okay, do it then.
Yeah, I think people forget that on Mythic, it's like you have to have a consistency. It's okay that you can do it one run, but you have to do it like maybe hundreds of tries, and every try you have to improve and be good, and that's not what I think Classic is about. So I don't know if, and plus I don't think they have the manpower actually to create heroic modes, because it's probably a lot of work to
they're a pretty small team. But I mean, even if it was just like a numerically harder thing, maybe like one extra bullshit in the arena, if all they gave us was cosmetics, like, you cannot tell me with a straight look on your face that if you got like a thing,
title,
like a tabard, right?
Title or tabard,
and like you could click the tabard and make your dude flex, and then fire would burst out of your biceps. There's no fucking way people are not doing everything they can to get that.
They have a tabard like that in
the TBC pre-patch. I remember that all the way back. Yeah, I had it.
Would, like,
where you
flex.
click it, the light would come out from it.
If you did like a
back
flip or some shit.
Yeah. Oh yes. You night off doing a sick little gainer, and then you get a little guitar riff would go off when you hit the ground. I guarantee people would do it. 100%.
I think that's the meal ticket, is adding something for the people who want a little bit more. Here's the thing. If they make it too hard, and I'm kind of coming to terms with this, like, I do like a challenge, but at the same time, like Cheese just said in the chat, he said, who plays Classic for a challenge? I get it. I completely understand that. You know, a lot of I would argue that more than 80% of the player base does not want it to be challenging. They want to come home from work and log on and have a beer and do the raid and be done. And like, I completely get it.
It's about developing your dude to having all this cool stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So this is, I think for me, it's like maybe I'm kind of mixing it up. So I wanted to talk it through. Like, being hard and being accessible are probably, there is a relationship between the two. So for instance, if the raid is relatively hard, then it's not easy to get in, because you have to have better gear, or maybe somebody's gonna check your parses. How much we discussed last
there's an add-on for that.
That's kind of there is a kind of
toxicity comes out.
Toxicity. So I personally, for instance, I was leveling in Cataclysm, and I kept like being like upset about like, this is too easy for me. At the same time, when I'm, let's say, levels 70, 80, whatever the maximum level is, gonna 85, and I would like to go to the first couple bosses on the raid, I'm not gonna be invited because I didn't farm for whatever gear, even though I have the skill actually, but I don't have any proof. That sucks, and I think that's the kind of the Classic experience that you should be able to get to the raid and experience that, and even if you're not really skilled or you don't have the super good gear, you could go to Molten Core. It was really fun, and yes. But at the same time, as you said, Hammer, you couldn't go to Noxramas. It's a completely different story. So I think the solution is to make it gradually harder, like originally. But I'm not sure how it's gonna work out with Molten Core being 20 man. So from the get-go, again, we start from the same kind of bad position that a lot of guilds didn't have the 20 man consistently, and it was hard enough that they couldn't invite pugs all over the world, because pugs were not always consistently good enough. What is good enough? And anyway,
Yeah, but
It's problematic. It's
my
problem.
question
You guys
then
are
is
struggling with that, aren't you? Your guild is, right?
oh yeah, definitely big time.
Yeah.
See, like
But,
I'm in
like,
such a
interest is a
lucky
big part of that.
place.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, so I was just saying, interest is a big part of that, right? Like, if people feel like they've gotten everything they want out of SOD, they're not going to continue playing when it's like, I would rather just take a break and wait for the next cool thing to come out, right?
At least raid log, guys. It's the worst when you take all this gear and then you just are like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
done.
You know, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, it is.
At
Motherfucker.
least
It's a
raid
little
log
annoying.
for us, fellas. Come on.
Yeah.
Just
But-
at least a couple times. Just
But-
show up.
See, I guess the bigger guilds are reaping the benefits of because Swamp kind of started out as half GDKP runs, and then they outlawed that, and then it just became a bunch of runs, and we had, I was running 2 to 3 10-mans, other raid leaders. We have a bunch of different raid leaders, and then we just were able to kind of combine, and now we have 6 20-man raids that run weekly. But to get that, you have to have a big server with a ton of people.
Yeah.
And different raid
Who
times,
want to
people
do
sign up. Yeah. And
Yeah.
But
so we're lucky that we have that. A lot of guilds don't have that. And then melding 2 guilds oftentimes just does not work.
no.
No.
But here's my question
No,
then.
the
So,
clicks get broken up and that causes drama.
why I am so confused about what if this was a classic 2019 fresh, there wouldn't be these issues about getting 40 people together into a raid. So why is it that in SOD people's guilds are disbanding because of a 20-man raid? I don't understand that, and I
Because
truly
the
don't.
idea-
person can wipe you, and I know
Well,
what my buddy
I think
Steve's
some
not in
because
the
of that.
raid.
I think a
think the
big part of
problem
it
is-
is the assumption that everyone is supposed to clear the raid. That's content that everybody's gonna do. But back in Classic World of Warcraft, a lot of people didn't do the raids, man. They leveled up, they did their dungeons, they got their pre-raid bits, and they made another character, and they played a different game. There's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody has to be a raider, right?
I think it's not just that, but every guild in here, because you stopped at 25, that was the end game. Level 40 end game, level 50 end game. So you prepared for a 10-man raid. So originally in a classic whatever version, like a previous classic 2019, you prepared that yes, the end game is level 40 people. So you already start to build up your guild like that. So by the time you get there, you're not surprised that yes, that's what you're prepared for. But most of the guilds here just build up for 10 man. And even that was problematic to switch to 20. I mean, our guild. I mean, we've seen a lot of comments like this of going from 10 to 20 or 20 to 40 is hard. I think from 0 to 40 would not be as hard, and I guess the statistics show that is true because the classic worked. Classic,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dude, think about it. If this was a fresh, just regular classic, as many times as we just played it over and over again, this wouldn't even be an issue. There would be guilds with 40-man raids, no problem. And I think it is exactly what Tarkus said in chat. I saw you responded to him, Bob. A lot of it is that nobody has any clue what is actually happening and when it's happening. What's going to happen to our characters.
They're going to take all our characters and throw them into these holes that we've been digging on Cataclysm.
Oh, no, dude.
We're
Stop.
digging mass grave sites.
You'll do your archaeology, your character's
No.
head will pop out. Oh my God.
Dude,
That's my conspiracy theory.
I hate it, man.
No, I mean, honestly, it's my microphone. So honestly, that okay. Technical issues.
It's all good?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
All right. So I was going to say that it's funnily that what made 25 really good and 10-man small raids, I think is probably segregated the player base into so many guilds that nobody's really wanting to fill up or willing to give up their guild, or as you mentioned, merging is a problem. And it's somehow backfired. I mean, it started really good. If every guild would have been mega guilds, 40 plus preparation type of guilds, I probably not that many people would have burned out because, they could raid without problems. Because if you're in a guild, it's easier to get into the raid if you're a pug. So it somehow backfired. I think that's the main issue here.
It's interesting too, because we thought when we first started,
Here's Jerome. Sorry.
Jerome's
you were
in
just-
chat.
Yeah.
We were
It was
talking
asking
about
me
you,
to cook
Jerome.
somewhere. So yeah, like Swamp worked out way better than a lot of us thought. Like we thought it, because it's basically just a GDKP server. It's basically what it is. Like
Yep.
I want those
with
back.
with like a whole bunch of different raid
want those
leaders,
back.
and you sign up for the raid you want to go to, and like it's basically the same design, and it's worked so good for us. Sardako and others are making a guild just like it for Kata, like where, because like we can, if like somebody gets upset and doesn't like somebody in one of the raids, they just go to one of the other 6 raids.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And they just change, and it's like a way for people to find the people they like to like hang with. You know, you're of course gonna have those guys that don't fit in anywhere, and then we just kick them out. But like it's really cool for that fact, and I think like doing that type of guild, and you would think it'd take a lot of work, but we don't do a ton of work. Like
yeah, we
like,
had
we
a good
don't
Bob
do a
in
ton of
phase
work.
1. In phase 1,
Oh,
we
had,
had
like,
we
4
got up to
raids.
four raids. I mean, yes, it was 10-man raids at that point in time, but yeah, it was like a smaller version of that. Like we were doing really well in phase 1, but I don't know.
But
To
who
me, I
was
guess
recruiting. You got to be constantly recruiting. With this many raid bosses,
yeah, we
you're
haven't
gonna
done
be,
any recruiting in game for the past like
we
phase.
get most of our members from pugs. Like I'll bring somebody, they've got like
That's what
anywhere
we've gotten
between
too.
Yeah.
55 to like 85 parses, across the bosses. And then we bring them in. We're like, oh, now that they found, people that are competent, their parses just moved up,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're like, hey, well, you want to jump in? And yeah, it's worked out really well for us.
She
I
said
think
I
I'll
missed those
forget
11
that.
gold payouts in phase 1.
A lot of people seem to
It's so
forget that
good.
like your parses are just as much the work of everybody else's as yours, honestly.
Yep.
In
Well,
a lot
But
of
I
these
think,
raids.
Well,
I think that's why the gatekeeping thing's happening a lot. Like
Yeah,
that
I don't
is
like it.
true, but it's not as true as people will like kind of put out there. Like a really good player is going to 99, even though the rest of his group's doing like 85 to 90, right? Like
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I just mean like
And
if you have like a
they're
bad
also-
comp or you have like a bunch of people died, then that can pull your parse down. It's not going to
yeah.
ruin it. I just mean like if you're looking to get that fatty perp or orange or something like that in your parse log, then you need
oftentimes though,
some kind of like help,
the
right?
98, 99 parsers, oftentimes I'm a little like skeptical of them, because
Yeah.
all that I think of when I see those parses is, oh. And especially if you see a bunch of them. If you see one of them, you're like, oh, okay, maybe they work together every week and they, try and get everybody a good parse. But when I see them with like 99s 4 weeks in a row, I'm like, well, this guy's not a team player. This guy didn't dispel anything. This guy didn't move out of the shit when he should have moved out of the shit. Like, I'm very skeptical of like 99 logs.
Yeah,
Very
when
skeptical.
when you're in charge of like checking logs for guild like in like later expansions, you kind of get used to checking a lot of that stuff. And even now, like it's just a habit. I do it in Final Fantasy. I do it. Well, I don't play retail anymore. I did it in retail, where it's like, oh, this person had like 83s. They're like an alright player. I'm immediately going through to see like what avoidable damage they got hit by, what like debuffs they cleansed, what extra mechanics are they doing. And I really am finding that people who have those like solid high blues, low perps, but they're doing mechanics, those players are top notch,
The
man.
best.
Every
Yeah.
time.
Those are the best.
Every time. Those are the people you want. You don't want the guy who got like a bunch of 99s but never did a mechanic, because like he's just being, he or she
Yeah,
is
you have a
just being
rogue
held
that
up on
didn't
other
kick
people's
once.
work.
So
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
So here's a
A mage who
question.
never decursed, like get out of here.
This is for Glorious and Bob, mainly because if we don't want like Molten Core to be harder, right? How is that going to work with how much stronger we are, like our characters are currently, right?
Well,
like, or do you want them to just scale it so that it's basically the same as it was in Classic Era, but scaled up a little bit so that it's that same difficulty with our power level now?
I have been saying this from the very beginning. I remember talking to Scotty J when we first talked about it after coming back to BlizzCon, or coming back from BlizzCon. It was like, I said it right then. Why don't they just cut Molten Core in half, and then that ups the difficulty? Why don't they just make it a 20-man and then just leave it be?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I mean, that does, and I know we do have more powerful gear, but that does, you know.
You mean leave it at the 40-man stats wise for the bosses and trash,
leave everything
but cut
the
it so
same,
that only
just
20
cut it
can
in
go in.
half.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
doesn't Shade have more health than Ragnaros right now?
Yeah.
It might even still be a little too easy. They could probably up the stats and leave it at 20.
You got a point.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I have no recollection of how hard Molten Core was, except that it was easy. So I would not answer it based on like make it harder or easier. I would just say that they should make it similar to BFD, because BFD felt like it's a big dungeon. It didn't feel like a hard that you have to keep wiping on a lot, and it was enjoyable still.
Except the first week for a lot of people. Kelris was a bitch for a lot of people first week. Second week.
That's okay. I mean,
but then after
it's fine.
Yeah, but all they had to do was Google, and if they Googled, they would have been like, "Oh, everybody take a shadow resistance potion, bada bing, bada boom. It's easy then, done."
And I
Same
think
with like Nomer, like nobody kicked the freaking last boss, and they wiped on it for like hours and hours because the mages were parse freaking monkeys. Like, you know, like it's just hilarious.
I think I was on my hunter at that time, so I couldn't even kick anything. The
raid group didn't kill that first reset. Shibi, do you remember? I think we didn't kill Kaldris or whatever it was the name of that boss in the first reset. I think we killed it only the second. It was okay. I mean, nobody wanted to quit the game because it's too hard. It was more like, you know, we probably need to improve a bit. And I remember in the level 25, I still had my rogue, and they invited me to the raids for the kick. So I didn't have to have any gear or brain or whatever. Just use your kick on that boss, and that's really your ticket to the raid. And I think Molten Core is similar. Are you doing this buff or that buff? Then you're better off, and you're sure we need you. And yeah, there is some players who still need to do damage and all that, but it was overall not rocket science. And I think they should do that. And again, I really like hard content. I'm just not looking for. Again, if I want to play with my old characters and want to go for... In fact, they should put that gold DKP. We already discussed this as well. Just, you know, I want to play some raids and not sweat about it too much.
Yeah.
I kind of agree about bringing back GDKPs. It gave me something to do.
It
you know,
really
like at first I was all about getting rid of it.
That's my
gold
favorite
buying,
thing
but like
in the world.
it never stopped the gold buying, you know what I mean?
It didn't stop it at all. Nope.
It kind of just gave those of us who don't swipe the way to kind of like not like rob the swipers of their money, but convince them to give it to us because we're better. You know what I mean? Like it's like we actually do the content, so pay me.
And I mean, like going to GDKPs, you always knew you were never with that character. You were never going to get the coolest shit ever. Like you're gonna get the shit that drops down, but you're there because you're good. And then you're getting paid because of it.
Yeah.
And like your character's getting worked up, but you know you're definitely like my GDKP characters in Wrath. I knew I was never gonna have BIS weapons. I was never gonna have the BIS trinkets. Like, and that was okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, and it was a way to fund my other character doing something I love, raiding.
Yeah.
Which is one thing I am excited about going back to Cata for.
Yeah, I'm going to get killed for this in the comments because every week that we do this show and I talk about GDKPs, I wake up to like 25
so
comments about Hammer Dance is sponsored by G2G and all this shit. I'm like, dude, let's fucking relax here. Like, it's just a fun thing to do.
Weird.
Like, it is fun. Back in TBC Classic, that was my whole thing. Like, that, I literally had... like 6 level 70s, and every night I'd get on, I'd run my ZA GDKP. Like I ran my own. It was fun. We were part of a bigger like Black Temple GDKP that we would join every Friday, and it was pretty much like a guild. This guy ran it with the same people every week.
GDKPs are.
Yeah, and it was a blast, dude. Yeah, the dopamine that you get.
A couple Oilers, but like for the most part, it was 20 of the same people every week.
Yes.
Like in my GDKP with fucking Pummel, I killed Heroic Lich King. I never killed Heroic Lich King with my guild.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And we were all way more geared than my GDKP was, right?
Because the people that were leading those raids had it structured.
Yes,
they had
very.
it down to a science.
Yes, very. More than normal guilds, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
We had the nice spreadsheets
money
that gave
involved,
everybody.
Yeah,
we're making bank.
So I don't want to burn Blizzard too much on here, but I must say, when I didn't play, I don't know why I didn't play World of Warcraft in general in the Burning Crusade Wotolka Classic. Okay, I played the original, those games, but not the classic version. And I logged into Cataclysm and like, oh, there is WoW tokens, so it's okay for me to buy if I buy from Blizzard the gold.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. So if there would be WoW token in classic SOD, would that be okay to buy the gold and then run gold DKP? I don't know. I feel I'm not saying that buying gold is okay. I'm just saying that somehow there is this twisted logic that gold DKP makes people buy gold. It's not that. I mean, there is always going to be people who are going to be trying to make as much gear and whatnot, whatever way they can, and they're going to cheat and whatever, and I don't think that everyone else's game should be broken because of that. And I was also interested. I never played before Gold DKP. I always had a guild. We have the raid Mythic. You cannot raid really. I didn't feel like we can raid with Pug, Mythic, and all that. So I was not in this Gold DKP, and what I found interesting is it was actually fun. We made some gold. It was I watched some videos on YouTube, and there was apparently a lot of fan base, like organizers, same people organizing the same groups every week, and I think it's just I think that this is really the next level of WoW. That they do not realize that the old version 10 years ago, 15, when we were super young and it was okay to play 24/7 and sit there every Wednesday from this to that, it's kind of dying out. They should bring back this, like, I want to raid now, not tomorrow, not like whenever the guild is there, right now. And the Gold DKP allows to do that.
Yes, that is a really good point, because you know what? If GDKPs were still in Season of Discovery, here I go bringing on all the hate comments tomorrow morning when I wake up. But I would literally be more bigger. Like, I would be playing. Yes, it would be bigger, and I would be playing more than just raid logging my warrior. To be honest, I really would. I would be playing like 3 or 4 characters.
Every ult up, every ult I could get up. I'd have my hunter. I'd have my mage. I'd have my druid. I'd have my shaman. I'd have my they'd all be up, and I'd be making bank because it's fun to watch the number go up.
Yes.
Wrath would have died without GDKPs.
It would
Wrath
have.
would have completely died.
Easily.
For the record,
I right now. That's all you see.
Whoever is watching the recording.
What did you say, Glorious?
I brought it up.
You brought up. Yeah, Glorious brought it up.
He's jumping on the hate grenade for you.
Send all your hate to Glorious.
Don't attack me,
listen,
please, guys.
Man, I'm attack me all you like. I don't give a fuck.
I don't think there's anything wrong with GDKPs. I will stand by it forever. I'll die on this hill. It's a great way to experience raiding with alts and everything. It's fun, man. It just is
not that black and white, though. It's not that black and white.
Sure.
There is some evil, fucking dirty,
There's definitely
nasty
some very
GDKPs.
downside to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But,
and you have to be careful which one you join. And I was very pro removing them. Joe remembers. He was there for that. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Get rid of these gold buyers. Get them out. We don't have tokens.
You were pro to removing them, but literally the week before that, you were in my BFD raid when a mage bought the Kelris staff for 850 gold, and we got a ton of money.
Money's got to be made. Okay, don't hate the player.
So you're against it, but you got that.
Absolutely. But now that it's been a while, and looking back, is like how much. I was just like, oh yeah, sweet. We'll just do some GDKPs. I'm otherwise really bored. I really felt like we just lost something by not having it.
Yeah, it just got taken away. Like nothing replaced it at all. So it was just it's just lost time that I'm not logged on.
And if they're worried about us having too much gold, they could just put in some kind of gold sink into the game. You know what I mean?
Something. I do think it is it's not the best way to play. That's why I've always played with a guild.
Sure.
Yeah, because I want to have the coolest stuff. I don't think unless you run a GDK system where you're getting the bonuses, then you're probably not going to be the people that are and you'd have to have like a good 5 or 6 characters to feed one tune if you didn't buy gold to feed them to be able to outbid all of the swipers. Like,
yeah,
so I wouldn't. So like, it's just such a cool thing for alts, though.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. Because like my main, I wouldn't unless I was like already geared all the way out and I have nothing left to care about. My main wouldn't be touching a GDKP. I'd be raiding normally. It would just be my alts, and normally it was led by the guild that I was raiding with.
Well, didn't you always take your main to the raids prior, to the tier prior, once your guild moved to the next tier? Because that's what I did all through TBC.
And get some money. Yeah, I just meant like the current content. You know what I mean? Like, because like you have all that gear, you want to help Frog, right? Like.
Yes, and I think we all agree that main should be guildy, and alt could be gold KP, and then yes, there is people who just don't, like random schedule and cannot find a guild, or they're socially, I don't know, want to distance themselves from joining a guild. There are some people like that who are just lone wolf type of.
Some people play the freelancer, man.
Yeah, exactly. Freelancer. That's a good word. I think that should be fine. So I hope, and I don't think it's gonna happen that in phase 4 they're gonna bring it back. I don't see a lot of hope on there because there's no communication on that. I think they're just, not happen.
If they brought back GDKPs, made us wait to get into the raid, and implemented the last PvP test, SOD Phase 4 would be skyrocketed. It would be a blast. Bring back GDKPs, lock us out of the raid for the first 2 or 3 weeks, make people run all those dungeons.
Hate tomorrow.
Oh, dude, I am getting I'm gonna get it so bad. Tomorrow. I'm gonna get it so bad.
I feel like a week is like enough time to
2. I say 2.
Yeah.
Right? Because a week you still feel kind of rushed.
Even a week is all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm a capital GAMER gamer, right? Like I'm gaming, so that's enough time for me. But I live out in the quite little middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? And I don't got a kid, so you gotta keep in mind there's a community of people that aren't just degenerates like I am. You know, and giving people enough time to actually be able to enjoy the game, not just get the cap, but enjoy getting there. Then absolutely. So if they're like, we're gonna give 2 weeks, perfect. You know, a lot of MMOs these days they give you like that 1 week or 2 week gap. I know Final Fantasy gives you 1 week, and then I think it's like your EX trial, and then you get that for a week, and then you're into the Savage. You know, so you have like 2 weeks of doing like the normal stuff and like the trial. You know, retail, I think they gave us like 2 weeks to do all that. Like, I didn't really Mythic raid in retail. I was just doing Mythic Pluses. But they gave you plenty of time to be doing all that world stuff and the world, like elites and rares and stuff like that, because you can only kill them so many times. And you get all that stuff going. And it just gives you like a better pace. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like I have to be on. Say again?
I was talking to someone in chat, sorry.
Yeah, it just feels like you don't have to be on.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
that makes the game more enjoyable. When you have to be on, it turns from a game to a chore.
Plus, again, Phase 4, they should put in some extra content that is not just the raid, so there is other reasons to play, including, but not limited to archaeology. Definitely, I see a lot of
Glorious,
about archaeology.
stop it, Glorious.
We need archaeology.
No archaeology in SOD, please.
Well, I mean, if they're going to add stuff out in the world, I didn't mention it before, but I would like it if they added enough stuff spread out enough that we're not all in the same incursion, murdering each other while...
Yeah, you know what, actually? I'll take archaeology if they bring back GDKPs. I'll let them put archaeology in SOD. I'll be okay with it as long as GDKPs are back in the game.
But so I'm going to say something.
What if you have to find Thunder Fury?
Oh my God. Dude,
archaeology.
You have to dig up Thunder Fury like that? Come on, that would be sick. I would do archaeology then.
That's the
findings. You know how many
sword in the stone. It should be the sword in the stone. You have to find the sword in the stone.
Yes.
And then you have to complete a quest line to become worthy of pulling it from the stone.
I remember archaeology was really controversial when it was introduced because on one hand it's pretty fun, Hammer, really it's pretty fun. You can find a lot of cool stuff, but the problem was you can also find your bis item, and I think if they would bring some some version of it to honestly into SOD, I think that's matching the classic feeling archaeology. That just don't put in some raid items there or even danger items, just put in some fun stuff like you turn into that table thing.
It might even be cooler because we don't have flying mounts.
That's true too. It would incentivize a lot of world PvP.
Imagine the word PvP.
Oh, it's gonna be
the word PvP.
Painful, but then like you could just increase the rewards. Like you have to like wall, or you have to like wall jump to get up to these spots and everything. Like, you have to do jump. What are they called in Final Fantasy? Jump
puzzles or something.
Yeah, like get some
we're
jump
trying to get to the
puzzles
top
in
of the
here.
Kugane.
Like
That poor idiot that gets one jump away, and you just see him drop all the way down to the bottom. That's actually more fun than doing the jump puzzle.
Doing some like Warsong Gulch Druid jumping around and all that crap.
Yeah, and I was obviously joking about archaeology, but the idea is behind archaeology that it's something different. You don't have to do it, but you can spend time on it. You go out to the world, you do stuff in the world. I'm not saying archaeology. Do something like the jump puzzles. Again, I mentioned this in a previous podcast. In the Star Wars MMO, there was something like that you can find in the world. Some things that improve your. Yeah, it improves your stats one time, like one strength, let's say, like pretty small things, but they can add up. And it was like kind of optional, but you have to go out of the world. Some of them were jump puzzle. I don't know. Honestly, my concern is that in Phase 4, it's just gonna be slower content, like a copy-paste content. That's something we've seen before. They're putting, I don't know, maybe cars on they gotta rework, and that they're gonna forget about that. There could be other types of content that they could put in. That's my concern. There's too small of a team. There's Cataclysms going on, Mists of Pandaria thing, retail. So I think I don't know if they're gonna have the capacity.
What was the thing that came out right before Nax? Where all the ghouls would spawn. And you could build up stuff, and you could buy those stones that did 200 attack power to
the invasions.
Oh yeah, the invasion.
Yeah, like they could do stuff like that where it just pops up in different areas. Like, it doesn't have to be that, but it could be something like that, like something where it's like, oh shit, we gotta jump on, or different world bosses, or. Like, I've been asking for world bosses.
World bosses would be cool.
The start of SOD. Like, I wanted like a little level 18 world boss. Like,
or we could just bring back garrisons and then have followers go out and do archaeology to get like.
Now
your
that
item.
I'm on board with, dude. Yeah, give us a garrison, and then I'll do archaeology.
Send out all the followers, give them a shovel, and then they come back with your BIS items. Nobody has to complain about how bad the raid is, and like
you just log in, send them out, and you do no play at all. Just like a mobile. Actually, you can do it from your mobile phone. That would be.
I actually liked garrisons
from your phone. I enjoyed it.
I liked garrisons. Yeah, like Bob said, it's like a Farmville aspect in WoW.
Plays too much is all. I like the farm and mop. Honestly, I enjoyed it. The farm and mop was great.
She said there was a screenshot.
Awesome title from it. Yeah, it was a good time.
You see what she said in chat? I don't remember this, but he said there was a screenshot in Phase 1 of the AQ style invasion in the Barrens. I don't remember seeing that.
In the Barrens.
Yeah. So maybe they are going to do some kind of invasion stuff.
That'd be cool.
I mean, why not, right?
If they had like themed stuff happening during like these invasions, or they're release like a new dungeon and it was gonna be like a themed kind of like deal that we're dealing with, I'd be fun with that. That'd be cool.
Some stuff like there's unimplied consequences though, like for instance like having too high a level mobs in like an area, like you think nobody's working up, but I remember Mel was working up in Druid in Classic during the AQ stuff, and one of the 4 bosses you had to kill for the mount quest, for the gong quest, was like close to where she had to get her, like where she had to do her quest for her bear, and she kept getting killed because there was just like tons of like super high level mobs everywhere.
Oh
and
my
she's
god,
like, this is fucking bullshit. And she's just trying to level up normal as a fucking druid.
But I bet, and you remember that. They're gonna remember that forever. That's kind of part of the game experience.
That is true. That is that's a good point.
That's what makes classic, right?
And it makes the world dangerous too, right? It's like one of those things.
That's the only reason I play PvP servers. Danger.
Yeah. The thrill of just knowing that you could always be ganked. I'm the same way. I will never play on a PvE server, ever.
Dude, we play on Benediction.
Yeah. Well, Benediction.
It is a PvP server, but it's not.
Yeah. You know what it is though? Anywhere
Greg
outside.
came out and tweeted like, "Hey, me and Tim have been talking. How cool would it be if we merged Faralina and Benediction for Kata? And I was like,
why didn't they do it?
I put the baby meme of going.
Yeah.
Like I was like, do it. That would make Kata sound so much more
we
fun
would
to me.
enjoy it, but I know there's a lot of people that would hate that.
Then why do you start the character on the PvP server?
Exactly.
Because you want to play with your friends.
Time.
That's why.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people don't play on a PvP server or any server because that's the server they want to play on. They play on a server because that's what their friends are on. You know what I mean? Or that's just a server that has like if you want to raid, it's silly enough. But if you want to raid, you're going on a PvP server because that server tends to have more people. You know?
Yep. I know for a fact a ton of Swamp people hate that we're on a PvP server. But
really?
They're like, but this is where all the creators are and all the good players are.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be here, but Table hates it. Fucking, I mean, I could name off a ton of people that.
There's some days I hate it. There's some days I hate it. I'm not gonna lie. When I'm on my mage and I just want to get this one thing done, and there's like 40,000 rogues just on a mission to make me put my forehead through my monitor, that's not a great time. I'm not gonna lie.
I hate it too, but that's what makes me love it. If that makes sense. Like,
it's like spicy food. I like it after the fact.
We do have layers. Like if you're not lazy as shit, you could like easily pull up Novo. Well, it depends on your guild then again. Like, because my guild, there's always like 80 people on, right? So I'm like, I need to get to layer 2. I just messaged a couple people on layer 2 and bada bing, bada boom, done.
You're gone.
But I guess you'd have to like search around if you didn't have people on to help you. So I guess I'm in a little bit of
a little bit of like bot abuse tech here. If there's no one on, you can just like get invited to one of like the summoners, like the bot summoners, and the moment they invite you, just see if that's the layer you want to be on, or just get off the layer and then leave the group before they summon you.
Everybody calls them bots, summoners, but like I make a point to have a conversation with my my summoner
with your Uber.
Time. Dude, I used to do Uber too, and like I would spark conversation with people. It was actually one of my highest traits on my list where everybody said they liked me. But, I was 4.97. Thank you.
Nice.
But so like 1 out of 10 times they won't say something back to me, like, and I'll be like, oh, it's a bot. But like normally it's like the guys are like, yeah, it's been kind of slow here in Stoner tonight. Like, I'll just like start up conversation. It could be AI bots. Who knows? Like, we're gonna get to the point to where the bots are just gonna be like, you're gonna like make good friends with a bot and not even know it because AI is getting so strong, and you're gonna know this person, and they're not gonna be real.
You're gonna try and meet them at BlizzCon one year, and they're just not gonna show up.
It might actually be happening already.
It's coming. It is like if you've seen some of the bots that can like you can talk to on your phone and they can look around and like make conversation with you. It's
like the augmented reality AI bots. Yeah,
it's scary.
I used to have full conversations with my summoner on 2019 Classic, Marcella. Marcella was the best. Like I guarantee you, one person is gonna watch this back and be like, "Holy shit, I remember Marcella, dude," because Marcella was the absolute best to get your DMF buffs.
I'm not saying that like none of the summoners are not bots. I'm just saying like a good way to abuse bots is to like use what they're doing. It's the same with like making gold. Sometimes you just abuse the bots to make your money.
Yep.
You make a good point about the DMF summoners, because like I had 2 that were like my guys. Like I would like try, like I'd even sometimes wait. Like I'd be like, I'll just jump back on in an hour and see if he's on. Like I had their names written down because so many people ran it differently, and some things would be like aggro in some people's versions but not aggro in other people's, so you get like used to one. And this was before Chrono Boon, so like you're usually getting DMF last and you're like fucking like just shaking in your fucking boots as you run through there as a fucking warrior. Like I always looked at the rogues and was like, you lucky sons of bitches.
Yep. I used to wait and I had to go with my whole guild.
Yeah. Actually, I think I have to go get DMF.
for tomorrow,
point.
probably. Yeah, I didn't get any of my buffs yet. I got to do that later.
I don't even know if I'm going to be available tomorrow with everything that's going on at work.
Oh, here we go. We're
DMS
losing another
down.
one, dude. See,
DMS
this is how it goes. I'm losing my raid members live in this podcast right now.
DMF, but
I
hey,
was here today.
we'll let you know, DMF's down. Like it's gone this week. It'll be back in Thunder Bluff.
Oh, so it's
on
easy. We
Monday.
just Booty Bay and Songflower.
Yeah, I went and got it.
Yeah, I already have those. You'll know by 3 o'clock tomorrow, Joe, if I'm going to be there. If they have to make me stay late, they're compensating me. I'll have, I guess, Friday off, but it's one of those situations where there's not enough people who can. There's 3 people on the East Coast who can do what I can do. So unfortunately, that means when they need me, that's just how it is.
If I see
absolutely
you
no
out there
question.
digging holes in Cataclysm tomorrow instead of raiding, oh man.
Absolutely noob question. What is DMF?
Dark Moon Fair.
Oh, okay. I thought something interesting. Okay, never mind. All this buff hunting. These guys are buff hunters. No, I thought that some game came out or something like that. Actually, I know that this conversation is an SOD, but I must ask, what do you guys think about the Mist of Pandaria thing? That's starting tomorrow, I think. Or
it is Thursday.
Cool. I haven't tried it yet. It sounds like a cool idea, but
weird.
Like them doing that has almost like confirmed for me that Mob Classic isn't going to happen.
I don't know if that's true,
but like it seems weird to me for them to do like a seasonal like Mob deal to then do Mob Classic right after that. You know what I mean?
So
or are they changing how we do Classic, which I'm cool with that too.
They're at a crossroads, I think, and I think Cataclysm Classic is a test, along with Mop Retail is a test, because it's a separate thing, just like Classic is. You will do a drop down, change over to it, log into it completely separate. But you are allowed to take anything you do in that mop to the war within. Okay, so I think they're kind of gauging. This would be their retail classic, and it's all the new stuff too. Like it's like they're not changing the game at all, except for the fact that it's mop.
You're in the mop universe,
through.
yeah.
So
that's what I'm like changing how they do
Classic would be different, right? So if Cat is successful, I think they do Mob Classic. If Cat is not, and the other's successful, I think they move on to Legion Classic. Wait, was Legion after
Are you
Mob?
gonna?
No, Draenor.
Draenor, okay.
Draenor, which one is that?
So then what do they do after Sod?
Like it'd be retail Classic,
well,
not.
If they make Classic into like a hey, you make a character and it starts at the beginning of that expansion and you do just that expansion, if that's how they want to do Classic forward, it almost lets them do these like almost experimental seasons again. You know what I mean? That's why I'm about like changing how they would do it. And with this experimental team, honestly, I'm willing to let them just take the wheel on this if they're coming up with like ideas. Because like I said before, they seem to be hitting more than they're missing. So I'm down if they want to try some crazy stuff.
Well, and them doing this within the retail engine makes them recreating retail Classic easy as pie, like easy peasy for them. They just have to mess with numbers, but everything is set, right? Whereas Classic, you know, even though they've said they have everything archived, like that's old ass code, and they've definitely struggled with different things. So yeah, I think Classic's over, and
that's kind of where I'm at with this, and we talked about this the last Tavern Talk, where I was saying that like I think that the Mop remix and us getting the full timeline for Kata kind of hint towards like this whole like, you know, the Classic expansions coming, you know, every year or whatever, kind of hints towards it ending. And then maybe moving it to, like Cheese said, like a league system type of thing, like in RuneScape, where like, you know, every year or every 6 months there's right. Like let's say this 6 months is you're in Mist of Pandaria, then 6 months after that you're doing a Burning Crusade league, but it's all on the retail client. But my problem is that so if they're gonna keep up with classic, right, and they're not gonna go past Cataclysm. And we have right now Season of Discovery, we have Classic Era and Hardcore, right? So where do they go after Sod? Because there's no way they're going to make another season that's like, how could they follow up to Season of Discovery. Like they're going to be like, okay, in this season, you go back to Classic Era and you don't have any of these abilities or anything. Like that would feel bad in my opinion, right? So I don't think they're going to do something like that. So my idea, which I talked about, I know Glorious and Shibby know, is that I think that Kata is the end of Classic. They're going to start doing like this like Mist of Pandaria remix type of thing in retail, and then maybe we'll get something new for Classic that's not seasonal, right? Classic Plus, whatever you want to call it. But it kind of just lines up perfectly, and they gave us the entire timeline for Cataclysm Classic, right? We know that by this time next year, Cataclysm Classic is over, right? It's done. So are they working on Mist of Pandaria remix right now and also Mop Classic? Like, is that, it doesn't make sense to me personally, but I don't know. Season of Mastering Discoveries. Yeah.
So could even just be different teams as well, right? They could just be giving the different like eras two different teams, and just to see what they come up with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think they're kind of building wide, not tall right now with World of Warcraft, because we have SOD, we got Classic, we got Retail, we got Mop. So it's almost like a grocery store kind of deal. Like, yeah, we got every kind of chip here, man. Whatever it is you're looking for. You know, you want all dressed, you want kettle cooked, you want Doritos. We got it all. You want some Doritos? Cool, go for it.
I do want some Doritos.
I would love Doritos right now.
So
I would watch some Doritos right now.
So I think the writing was kind of on the wall when Holly Longdale got hired on the Classic team, and then was almost instantly, like within a few months, moved up to the just like on the leadership team of the entire World of Warcraft franchise. And I think it's because they saw this type of potential in redoing the old stuff. And Holly knows exactly how to do that, because she's the one that basically pioneered EverQuest Classic.
Right.
And like did all of the stuff to bring those back.
Yeah.
So I think they saw an opportunity. They're like, you know, they tried to just hide the fact that Classic was good and everybody loved it, like at the start. And then I think once Jab left, Jayon Brack, they were like, okay, well, we got his ego out of here. Let's talk about what we could do. How can we capitalize on this? And I think they saw Retail Classic as a way to capitalize. I really do.
But then what do you think? How would they feed the Classic player base, Bob?
I think we'll keep doing it in the old engine, because I don't know about you, but I know as a Classic fan, I love the old graphics.
Same.
I don't like the new graphics.
For me, it's the combat. I like the combat the best. Going from the Classic combat compared to the Retail combat, both are good in their own way, but Classic's combat feels like a true old school MMORPG.
Classic are we talking about here? Are we talking about like classic? We're talking about TBC, Wrath, Kata?
I mean, to me,
I'm a big Kata fanboy when it comes to like how classes feel. I love the way they feel in Cataclysm.
I'm pretty sure that the combat though didn't really change until like Legion, right? Like Kata combat feels like classic combat. Wrath does. Yeah, so like
basically things being on the global cooldown and off the global cooldown feel really good to me.
Yeah,
because I can find ways to really like min-max that. Whereas I don't know when the change came in to where everything was on global cooldown. Yeah, you have more buttons.
BFA. A lot of it was like BFA. Where they took a lot of abilities. I remember it vividly because I played a mage at the time, and I'll be honest with you, Icy Veins it's not an interesting enough button for it to be on the global cooldown, because it's just a buff, right?
Yeah.
Like if they made Icy Veins into an attack that gave me a solid buff, like a 1 second cast, where like you just make like a line of like ice spikes just rip out of the ground and it just looks cool, then sure, that's fine. You know, it looks cool. You do damage, feels good. You're faster now. You know.
I mean, you get why they made the change. It's just easier to balance. But like,
absolutely.
What makes Warrior amazing is that so many things aren't on the global cooldown.
That's like the thing with Warrior. We still call it Swifty combos, you know, or Swifty macros.
Yeah.
Because you hit one button and it's like 13 things go off, and that poor person over there doesn't get to play the game anymore. Yeah. You know, it's great.
Well, I mean, they could have just got rid of what's it called, macros, to like get rid of the one button stuff. What's it called? Transition macros. Shit, somebody help me.
Like every time you hit the button, it swaps to the next ability.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Sequence macros.
Yeah, sequence or
transition?
interval, something like that. Yeah.
So some shit like that. Yeah. I know. So like other games have stuff like that, but they just don't work well enough that people just don't use them. Like you can, I think, technically do that in FF, but the system works so poorly that people just like, nah, fuck it. I'm just gonna do it manually.
But guys, you didn't answer my. Okay, well, you answered it, but you didn't answer the question.
Oh, my bad.
Are you guys gonna try it out? Are you gonna
the mop remix? I might dabble a little bit in there.
When's it coming out again?
Thursday.
It's coming out like pretty much
Thursday, this week.
Yeah, Thursday. 2 days from now.
What am I doing Thursday?
I honestly, I'm not sure whether it was a good idea to match the Cataclysm Classic.
No. It's definitely a good thing to add in because it's happening right as CAT is coming out and we have Phase 4 coming out. Like it's gotta be on the horizon, right? We got the XP boost.
Yeah, but isn't it a bit too much? I mean, honest for me, it's a bit too much. But the
It
question: Are you guys gonna try it out?
I play all day, every day, and it's a bit too much for me.
Yeah.
Is it a bit too much, or is it like one of those situations where what if somebody just really doesn't like Cataclysm? I love Cataclysm. I'm a big Cataclysm fanboy. But if somebody, for example, tried Cataclysm and they're like, you know what, this isn't for me. I just don't like the theme or whatever, because that's big for some people. Some people like if it visually it just doesn't jive with them, they can't play.
The destroying of the world, really, the sundering of the world, really, like upset a lot of people. I know,
cool, but it's a world. It's a living world. It's supposed to change. You know, it's like.
When Cataclysm was going to come out, I was so excited because I was like, we're going back to Azeroth. Yes.
We're going back. It's going to change stuff. The new leveling.
But then I just leveled up my 85 and then didn't check out any of the other. Like, I need to go level up because the quests look like they're fun. I need to
I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. It is so much more fun to level.
Are there a lot of people out in the world?
Azeroth leveling is like peak. Oh, yes.
They're all digging, but yeah.
All digging.
Well, actually,
there's a lot of people digging.
In my experience, go ahead.
No, you go. I was done.
No, I was just going to say that in the Eastern Kingdoms, I didn't meet that many players. In fact, most of the quests even the group quests are made to be completed single player. Yeah. So that's kind of a downside. But yeah, I was really surprised how many people were in the Burning Crusade zones. There's like a ton of players, and I don't know if that's because I joined really late in the game or whatnot. But
no, I was doing it like first couple of days, and I got like 98 honor just killing people there.
I don't know. I leveled my arc there from 300 to max, and I really didn't see hardly anybody out now.
What server?
Benediction.
Benediction's great, Chibi. Don't say it like that.
No.
Don't say it like that.
Most people are digging.
It's definitely not Horde.
Dude,
everyone knows they should have
Fairlane is my Horde server, so I might end up like if I have to refugee to a server, it's probably going to be Horde Fairlane. But I'm not expecting.
Go to White Main, man.
Excuse me.
That's where my Horde's at.
Well, Swamp's doing their guild
all my
over
home peoples are on
Fairlane. So
yeah, my home peoples are on Fairlane. So
who are you on Benediction with, Bob? Are you just solo over there, or?
I was with Varg. Initially Varg Flocken, founded by IDDQD, former Overwatch pro.
Oh,
I know IDDQD.
He's a cool ass dude. But yeah, it was him and his girlfriend, and then
I did not know he played World of Warcraft now.
Oh, he quit. He ended up quitting Start of Wrath because he was just doing too much. What's it called? Grand Theft Auto. So he like his sleep schedule was like way off from ours. But yeah, we raided with him forever. He was great.
Oh yeah.
But then
I only ran into him in Overwatch. He was very passionate.
Oh, he's a great guy. But yeah, like I jumped in there to talk to him last night, and I was relieved when they said, we're thinking we're just gonna do like a 10-man raid. I don't think we're gonna bring back the whole 25-man guild. And I was like, oh, so I don't have anybody I have to like, because like I would have felt compelled to like to like go with them, right?
Yep.
Like, because I'd been with them since the very start of this 2019 journey. But since they're not doing that, it's just like, oh, now I won't be a stranger, guys. I'll come by and say hi. But like, you know, like now I'm just like free to do whatever I want. So yeah, but I have tons of tunes. I have like 1 million gold on Benediction.
Really?
Oh, I ain't got
Which
shit.
I wanted to trade for Sod Gold, but then people started getting banned for that shit. I was like, all right,
you gotta be
never
careful
mind.
with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, gotta be careful, man. They're on the lookout. You don't want to end up like cheese.
I can't believe it though. We're almost there. We have
Strip the
what?
copper off your level 1 alts.
What's today? Tuesday. We have 6 days left. Next Monday will be Cataclysm Day.
Yeah,
That's kind of
I
crazy.
mean, I'm still gonna intend
Yeah.
to show up to raid, like to at least raid log in SOD. Like, Cata should not
would
be
be
taking
nice.
up so much time that you won't be able to.
yeah.
It's like
gonna be good.
140 hours of
completely follow.
digging.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
just made the
God.
mistake of playing a mage in SOD and Cata, and I gotta be honest with you, it really makes me not want to play my SOD mage.
Just play the Hunter inside. You can't go wrong, dude.
Yeah, I'm finishing my last one. Like I'm 65% right now.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Honestly, I think all I need is the STV bow, and then I'm good to go on this hunter. Because like I was BIS, like not like close to BIS, I was BIS. So yeah. Oh fuck! I gotta get my offerings.
What up, Lance?
I gotta confess that on this SOD thing, what is more surprising to me or positive, I was not playing World of Warcraft for a long time because there was only either retail or the kind of the hardcore classic, not the hardcore, but the original classic, which is much harder to play because you have to really get the consumables, the gold and everything. It takes a whole lot of time. And I'm kind of hyped for the fact that we have these different versions. SOD is it can go in parallel with Cataclysm. There is the short Pandaria expansion thing coming out. Then maybe I'm gonna check out retail. I haven't logged in for 6 million years. So
Yeah, I might mess with the mop stuff.
Things are looking upward. I feel. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, and I think that's really good because not everybody's gonna enjoy all of it. Like some people might just really not want to do mop again. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, I really did not enjoy the first half of mop, but I ended up loving the expansion once we had the Throne of Thunder, Throne of Thunder, something of Thunder come out.
Throne of Thunder, and then that Timeless Isle. Like, oh my gosh,
Dinosaur
how many
Isle?
hours
So
I spent there.
Yeah.
Like I hated that it implemented like a way to get gear to skip all the raids and everything and like all your pre-biz.
Yeah.
But it was just so much fun.
We should do it. Maybe we should make it a guild event, dude. On Thursday, we all blast. We make these level 1 mop characters on retail and just blast together and see how much fun we have.
So long as I don't have to go above the Arctic Circle again tomorrow, I should be good for Thursday. Man, I don't want to. It's way too cold.
I don't blame you. I hate the cold, man.
I mean, I'm fine with the cold until it's negative 50.
Dude, cold is this.
Once it gets to cool, I'll take you out to Patuffkit again, and we can go walk out in that negative 45 fucking degree.
Oh,
you can hang out there.
Is that Celsius or what the hell are we talking?
It was so cold. It was so cold when the Arctic foxes would.
I like 40 degrees. That's what I like.
Are you
like
at least
70.
putting on your Lich King dress when you are going out? You know,
I really should have.
It's a kilt.
Dude.
It's a kilt.
Dude, it was not a good time.
So Glorious said something while I was AFK there for a second. He's talking about like how Classic's just inherently hardcore with the world buffs and the consumes. It's actually what's funny is it's extremely sweaty melee. But then you go to caster DPS, it's a lot less sweaty. Then you go to healer, and it's like not even close to as sweaty.
As many consumables you need,
Yeah, because the
they
consumables
deserve it.
don't do anything for you. Like on
they
a lot
deserve
of
it. They have to keep our dumbasses alive. They deserve to not have to spend money.
Yeah, but it is like different ways to play. Like, you know, like if you're playing warrior, you're going, you know, rogue, now hunter too. You're going to be like using every consume in the book.
Every single one.
Yeah.
It's like 20 gold if you die to rebuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for hunter, like you've got the scrolls on your pet as well, like and all kinds of shit. Like, so, but then you go to like caster DPS, it's like, well, they don't need any of those stats. Like, I mean, I guess agility can give them some more armor and some dodge, but
it's
they
just
shouldn't be taking
potions.
aggro, you know? Whereas a melee might want to even use defense pots, because just in case, if you're a good melee, you should never be taking aggro, because you should be watching that shit. You should have an aggro drop, but warriors don't. So, like, you know, like, you might want to just go ahead and have that defense pot, you know, just because, like, in case you take aggro for a second. Also, that's one of the only ways to parse on a lot of bosses in Molten Core is to take aggro first. So,
yeah, you see it in all those hardcore clips, those warriors that just can't quite control themselves.
one too many crits.
I gotta get my 92 parse. I don't care if it costs me 22 days time played.
C-Dank, my boy C-Dank always has so many clips where he's died from pulling aggro.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
I mean, like, if the spell power potions weren't so expensive, then honestly, on my mage, I'd be spending like nothing. But with how expensive, like, because you got your wizard oil, you got your spell power potion, you got your
arcane elixir
potion, and then your arcane elixir, frost elixir.
They're like 8 gold on Crusader Strike, whereas like the second one's 50 silver.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The nice thing about that though is like it's at a point where you can get through like basically the whole raid on one, and if you end up dying, like you can just use the cheap ones because you're not gonna parse anyways.
Yeah,
if
that is
you're
true.
on
I
a
do
good
that.
team, like if you're on a good team, consumes aren't bad.
Yeah.
If you're on a bad team and you want to be, you know, doing your due diligence, you're spending a fortune.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, if we get gassed up on a reckless idea by a certain Michael.
Yeah.
Then, you know, we all lose our world buffs and consumables.
Yep. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes, man. All it takes is one.
It takes one warrior getting sucked up by that second boss, and then
hey man, it's only happened to me 2 times. It's only happened twice. But I think we should. We're over 2 hours again. We just can't seem to keep it under 2 hours. But I think we've been having a good time. But I think, unless anyone else has anything else they want to bring up, I think this is a good point to say our goodbyes and
archaeology.
No more archaeology talk in Tavern Talk. Archaeology is banned from Tavern Talk.
Banned topic.
From a band.
Godi KP archaeology. Godi KP.
No more archaeology, dude. I can't take it anymore. It's all I see on Twitch everywhere.
Let's wrap this up. I got home.
I abandoned it. I was doing it on my shaman, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll do it on my mage. No, I didn't even pick it up. I refuse.
Just for the record, Cheese paid me like 200 gold to, so that I say archaeology 5 times on the
Son of a
podcast,
bitch, dude. I knew it.
Why did you pay me? Damn it, I'm broke.
I'm just joking, but maybe.
I got one last thing to leave with you, and I want to see it in the comments too.
Oh God.
What everybody wants, but I don't know that I'm interested in this because, like, I don't know that I really liked TBC. But do you guys want TBC?
Yes, please.
Season of Discovery?
100% I would play
Oh,
it.
yeah,
TBC
absolutely.
is my favorite.
I love
Same.
TBC.
I like TBC over Wrath.
I take
I would
TBC
definitely
over
play
everything.
TBC again.
See, I thought I was Wrath Classic TBC, but I think I'm Classic Wrath TBC.
Really?
TBC is probably my least favorite. But
Oh my God,
I will
really?
say I played through as a Warlock, so I probably gimped my playthrough. I
Yeah,
had so much
you
fun
get to only
later
hit
on.
Shadow Bolt.
Yeah, literally. And like to get 99s, you have to do a little bit of tweaking of stuff, but like it's not really that much. But yeah,
But if you
I
don't give
enjoy
it a
playing.
99, it's literally nothing.
Yeah, TBC is my favorite expansion too, Lance.
For sure.
Like TBC is I don't know. I guess maybe it is just nostalgia. Like TBC I remember the most. Like, it was so
A
good.
little bit with
This is
Bob
when
here
you
because
started
like,
to come online as like an actual person
Yeah.
instead of a child, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Vivid.
Yeah.
Before
That
Classic
was great.
came out, I thought Wrath was my favorite, but after playing both, like, no, TBC
TBC was
definitely.
better. Yeah,
See,
100%
I was
better.
the same. I thought Wrath was my favorite, but it turns out Classic is like, which is funny. Because I thought it
Well,
was
yeah,
my
like
third
era,
favorite.
like classic era. You mean, Bob? Like
yeah, that's
60?
hard.
Just like straight up classic vanilla. Like,
Yeah.
like is actually
Classic
my
vanilla is
favorite.
is
I
pretty-
think that's a lot of people's favorite. But in
I
terms of
didn't realize it
expansion,
was,
yeah,
though.
TBC.
I thought Wrath was.
I really enjoy the
But probably
content.
because I had
in
more
TBC, though.
success. I don't know, maybe.
I enjoyed TBC more the second time around because I wasn't playing a caster where I got all of my like BIS for the next 2 or 3 raids from crafting, and then hit one button for the rest of my career on that class.
I think we can say that all of them have some good things that's why people like it. Like, for instance, in Classic, I really like on low level content when we have to really group up, because otherwise you cannot do that one quest. That doesn't do nothing. It's a whole, not even on too much XP experience, because really killing the mobs is more experience. But that's the fun part of it. Then Burning Crusade, I think that's the best feel. Raids, Shadow Moon Valley, Illidan. It's just, something amazing. Wrath of the Lich King is like Lich King. You have to, whoever played Warcraft 3 is like hyped for that probably forever. So honestly, if Burning Crusade would come out tomorrow again, like Classic, I will be sure. Sign me up.
Oh yeah.
I'd play it even if it wasn't SOD. Yeah. For the record, even if we had no abilities, like it was just straight regular TBC Classic fresh, I'd play it. 100% play it.
I've heard that from a lot of people. I definitely wouldn't.
Yeah.
But
I would jump straight back into
Assad. I would play.
But that's like the huge benefit of World of Warcraft being so broad now, it's so wide. And I like that they've built out so much, because there is something for everyone now, right? Like,
and
there's going to be something you enjoy.
There's a lot of people calling for TBC Classic, just a normal one.
I know, like Azimus made a big video about it.
Yeah, it's just like, but yeah, I guess like. For me, I think maybe like the reason I thought Wrath was my favorite was because things were easier. Like, and I know Vanilla's easier, right? But it wasn't easier in 2005. Like in 2005, we had to raid 40 hours a week, like to be like server second to kill like Rag and Neff, like and Cthulhu. Like it literally was another job that we did when we got home from our normal job, and maybe that's why I thought I liked Wrath more, just because people just didn't know that there wasn't tools, there wasn't Warcraft logs to find out somebody's doing something wrong to be able to help them correct it and stuff like that.
You had Thoughtbot, and that was about it.
And we had damage meters, but like you could see if people weren't kicking, right? Like you could see small things, you just couldn't see the big things, like how long buffs were active, yada yada. Like debuffs are huge in Classic Vanilla, like, and not having them at any time is just absurd, like, for the content. But we weren't able to see if like people were keeping it up. We'd have to like, nobody was streaming, nobody was recording, like very few. So it was a tougher time for us back then. Back in my day.
Battling frame rate and all that stuff as well, and
playing on some shitty computer you can get as a kid.
Most people this is their first MMO they've ever played, and
when all the warriors were wearing plate gear, none of them in leather gear. Like, I mean, it was just so much we had wrong about the game. Like, all the druids were like using their actual tier gear, which was actual dog shit in Molten Core, like, and instead of using cloth and stuff, like it was hilarious. People just didn't know, so it made it harder.
Question, because you mentioned like if there would be a Burning Crusade SOD version, then you would play more than there would be a Burning Crusade. Which one do you enjoy more, Classic or Classic SOD? Because Classic is not the same as SOD, and I'm not sure if SOD is that much better compared to Classic. You know what I mean? If you like that kind of experience.
For me, man, SOD has broken me. Like, just having the talent tree along with like the little changes runes can do, and it could just be like the characters I've played, right? But it's so neat to be able to be like I remember in phase 1 we didn't have a kick, and I was on my druid in BFD, and no one thought about it, but I was just like, well, I could just swap to the like stun rune, and I'll lose DPS. We won't have the bleed buff, but I'll be able to interrupt. They're like, oh yeah, it's a great idea. It's just like you can find all these little things to do, and then changing from like battlegrounds or open world PvP. Like, I just love the runes implementation. So yeah, like I definitely Sod's my favorite thing to this point, like of everything. Like Sod like is literally above everything else by a bit.
Wow.
I didn't expect that answer, honestly.
Yeah, me either.
It's just I mean, rogues have gunshots.
What did I miss? What was the question?
Well, the question was if you could choose, because the conversation was which one would you like more, Burning Crusade or Burning Crusade SOD? And then my question was which one is better, classic or classic SOD? Because classic SOD to me is kind of like a bad word, but a perverted version of the classic that makes it more playable and more open and so on. But it's not classic. It's closer to actually something like Cataclysm than to the classic.
Right.
It's pineapple to a pizza. It's gonna appease some people, but not everybody.
Well, then everybody says, "Oh, go play retail," but like that's the whole point. Like the moves and stuff. Just because, like, I'm not a fan of retail, but not just because something's in retail doesn't mean that like it's bad for me. Like it doesn't mean it's not a good change. There's a lot of good changes in retail. It's just retail as a whole. I don't like. It's a
different game.
I don't like transmog. I don't like these other things later. I don't like all the goofy looking mounts. The Ragnaros mount makes me puke in my mouth every time I see it. Like
I hate that there's money associated with it.
Yeah, like, and the money doesn't even bother me. I just wish it looked like it belonged in the fucking world. Like that's what I wish. Like if you go into retail now, it's like a Japanese shopping mall. There's just shit everywhere. You don't know what the fuck anything is. Like that's the reason that I don't like retail. It's like, and I don't like the graphics. That's true, but like it's still, that's a small thing compared to the stuff I don't like. But the moves, all the different abilities, these have been amazing for me. I've thought that it was just the best thing ever.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sod is great, to be honest. I mean, if I had to choose between Season of Discovery TBC and
what's up with your camera
and regular,
what
happened?
The Discord one is off.
Oh, the Discord one's off.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Here, wait a minute.
We get to see your.
Is it completely off now?
Cool ass fucking room. That's definitely.
Oh, it turned. It turned.
Is that
it turned when you
painting of a barn?
And then it
better?
came back. Yeah,
we
got
that's good now. I can see your arms. They're nice.
You get them fat tats right now.
Because I can't see my own cam, dude. Where am I? Hold on.
We get to see your new keyboard.
You like the keyboard?
Made that pretty video on, yeah.
Yeah, that's they've got those at Micro Center. I almost bought one because of you.
This thing is nice, dude. It is really
I was like,
nice.
I better order it with Hammer's link rather than buy it here.
I'm a keyboardaholic. I have so many keyboards. It's unbelievable. But back to the question, like if I had to choose between classic TBC and regular and Sod TBC, I think I would go with regular TBC. Just because I feel like TBC it's already to me so much more like fleshed out than classic era. Right. If I had to play classic era again without all the abilities and stuff, I don't know if I'd be into it. I like the Sod version of it.
That's where I'm at. There.
Yeah, I like the Sod version of it, but
unless I'm gonna play Warrior again, and like I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
When we say Sod TBC, though, are we just talking like added ruins or like doctored, raids and stuff like they've done with the actual Season of Discovery?
That's the hard stuff. As soon as you touch one thing, somebody's gonna be pissed off that no, I liked it the way that was, and
that's a good point. Like
well, it also
there wouldn't be the
like
build up
too.
raids, right? Yep. Unless you like stopping at like 65.
That's true. Yeah, there's no level up raids. Yeah, I think
I'm
don't know.
not even saying like level up raids. I'm just saying like tweaking the mechanics, like whatever Prince and Karazhan, where you're not all just standing 50 feet away from him casting.
Yeah. I mean, that could be kind of cool. Yeah, that definitely could be kind of cool.
Funny thing is, I remember that originally in 2007 that felt hard. Corazon was really hard. Now it is like a joke.
Yeah, and Lance brought up a good point in the Twitch chat. He said none of the TBC dungeons are big enough to be a raid, and that's true. Like the TBC dungeons are really small.
Yeah,
and
they
I
kind of
was
like
gonna
streamlined
say-
to be like a little experience.
Yeah,
But at that point, they could repurpose BR fucking D.
that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, they could bring you back to the old world too. Yeah, that's true. That's a good
They
point.
could combine some of those like ones that are all together, like the Auchendown ones and the Tempest Keep ones or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. And even the ones
think
under
that-
in the like Underbog and Steam Vaults and all that.
Right.
I think it's going to be really interesting that I feel like, and I really didn't feel like this like 5 years ago. And right now I feel like they have all the ingredients. Like all of these games have their good things in it. It's like the question is how can they keep it fresh and like repeat all over again? Because I think we are hooked on it already. I mean, it's like how many years everyone is playing, and it's there already. Now how can they kind of repeat it again without breaking this cycle is going to be the question. And again, what Bob mentioned about they're bringing it into retail map. Maybe that's gonna be it. I don't know. I also don't like that much the graph, but they can always like make it like you can turn it off and go with the classic look or something.
For the toggle switch. I've asked for that for both transmog and old graphics. And someone was telling me there was a way to change the animations, not the graphics, but the animations back to classic in retail at some point. It was my brother-in-law who was a mythic raider for years until Dragonflight is when he quit. But yeah, like I've heard that you could change something. It's not I don't think it's the graphics, but it's like the animations you could change back to the old ones or something. I could be completely wrong on it, but like a toggle switch for that would go a long way. Like I think transmog is fun in certain situations. I just don't like it all the time. I'd love to be able to toggle it on and off. So many remakes of games. I'm thinking of like Monkey Island, right? Like you've got the remake graphics and you could toggle it to the old graphics at any time. Like why can't we do that?
That would be pretty
here?
sick. Yeah, that would be sick in retail. That might actually get.
They did that in Diablo 2 as well. So
what'd you say?
And I don't think that. Good, sir.
I was just saying they did that in Diablo 2 as well. So like.
Oh yeah.
It's
See,
something that they're
exactly.
familiar with.
I mean, you have all the shit on your computer. Like, they just have to tell it to look at it differently. Say with transmog, all the stuff is on your computer. You just be like, I'm toggling to where I see what they're actually wearing. I'm toggling to see their transmog, and then it's not like it's in all the users' hands. I think
that they can make it work. I think technically, I mean, maybe if you would have asked them like 10 years ago, they would have said that it's really hard and they do not have the capacity. They either create content or make this kind of shit. But right now, I feel like with all these microtransactions in the game, the subscription, the expansion, they probably realize that like the subscription models, everyone is trying to do that, like all the companies, not just gaming companies. Like when you have a steady stream of income and they're just kind of expanding on it. And then I think because of that, they can actually make this kind of what was previously considered really hard to make work. Like classic, it was really hard to make and they made it work. I think they can make the toggle work as well, probably.
Yeah, that would be
Maybe.
a huge feature if they added that to retail.
But it's gonna be another podcast, I think, when we discuss where this can go. 5 years. How do we see Warcraft 5 years from now? It's really a big question.
That'll be the next one, dude. Yeah.
Dude, just ask that question 5 years ago from today.
Yeah.
Like, could you have imagined we'd be playing, like, we'd be on a third playthrough of vanilla, and this time with runes that go on your gear? Like, I mean, can you imagine? Like, we would have never thought in a million years. Like,
Yeah,
so who
it's
knows
true.
what the future brings?
Hopefully it's all good stuff.
Nice.
Hopefully it's all good.
Yeah,
So-
I hope so.
All right.
Like
We kept it
archaeology.
under 2
No
hours.
archaeology.
And no fucking attunements. That's why I don't want to play TBC.
Oh, that's true.
I
yeah,
like
the
those, man.
attunements. But it's kind of
At
fun.
least let your alts have him done as soon as you're done. Just have everything, like for all these seasonal things, just have everything account shared. Everything.
Yeah.
Like your rep, everything. Like,
yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
It would give more purpose to
I approve.
farming at the initial time. Yeah.
and it would give you, it was what I talked about in Wrath. I was like, this sucks because like my achievement hunter's my rogue, but my warrior could get so many achievements if they were just linked. Like my warrior, like you have different characters that have different abilities, and like it'd be nice if just, you know, and Kata brings that, like your account shares it all now, right? Like, but why not bring that to like classic too if we're gonna be doing seasonal shorter stuff?
Yeah, and the achievements like carry over. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
To the next season. Yeah, definitely agree. But I think this is a good point. Unless anyone else has anything that they want to bring up, I think we could end it off here. It was a good show.
Sorry, I won't bring up anything
No,
else.
that's
That
all
was
right,
another
Bob.
half an hour.
It's all good. Is everyone good?
I'm pretty
Yeah, I
sure
think
we
that's
could
it.
bring up more things, but
we could easily go. For
If
another
it's
couple of
archaeology,
hours,
I don't want to hear about it.
no,
we got to save some stuff for the next Tavern Talk.
Yeah.
Heroic modes to get improved shovels.
No, dude. No, improved shovels. No. God, we gotta end this, dude. It's getting too crazy.
I mean, you can get a shovel, you know.
Get your
You can
bulldozer
take
mount.
Kendall
and-
right there.
Legendary
right outside
shovel.
Goldshire. You can get
Oh.
yourself a nice shovel.
Engineers
God.
can make little gnome robots of shovels to do the archaeology for you when you land.
My brain is melting. No, my brain is melting. But I think we're gonna end it here, guys. So if we want to sign out, shoot out your socials, anything you got. I know Shibby, you have a Twitch. Shibby Sweet. It's linked in the description. Bob, if you want to plug your socials, go for it.
You can find me weekly at Warcraft Reloaded. If you go to warcraftreloaded.com, it's going to have my Twitch where we do it live. It's going to have Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you get your pods. It's going to be there. It's on YouTube also. Just search Warcraft Reloaded and go to warcraftreloaded.com. You'll find everything about me there.
Perfect. Alan and Glorious, I don't know if you have anything you want to plug. If you do, go for it. If not,
Man, I stopped.
Just
I might start streaming again because it's like been such a long time. And honestly, being in the middle of nowhere, it is a nice hobby to have. If I do it again, it'll be Biggie Iggy or the Big Diggle or something like that. I don't have anything to post at the moment, so I don't know.
all right. Sounds
I'll
good.
keep you posted.
Well, I appreciate all of you guys coming on the show. It was a good show.
Thanks.
And yeah, we're looking forward to the next one.
Thanks for bringing me in, Bob.
right.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
I've been seeing your stuff for a while. It's nice to finally actually talk to you.
Yeah, nice to meet all of you guys too. I love tuning into the last episode. I was like chatting it up, and Hammer was like, "You want to jump on?" I was like, "Well, I'm just about to jump on with Mel." I finally talked her into going. I think we were doing PvP that night, so I couldn't jump in. But yeah, it's been great. Thank you guys. Thank you guys
Yeah.
for having me.
Thank
Yeah,
you all for
thanks for
coming.
coming out.
It's been awesome. I will catch you guys on the flip.
Thanks, everyone.
Peace.
This has been fun.
Yep.
Bye.
Yeah.
See ya.
See you. Good one.
All right, we are not